when you look at things from an abundance mindset, there is no shortage of clients.
None.
You already have a personal brand. You just don't know that you do. All a personal brand is how people perceive you. I'm just paraphrasing here, right?
Yeah.
But it says chase a great name rather than great riches, right? Like, who are you, bro? What does your name stand for, right?
Yep.
And so when you just go and do things to try to chase a great name, the money will come. When you start to try to chase great riches and you don't care about your name, bro, your stuff about to expire like some milk, dog.
Yeah.
You put the money first.
Yep.
When I started posting stuff on social media about my life and what I was going through, talking about, hey, I got laid off from this job. The only way I can make money is to rent my photo booth and I'm not going to fail. It spiked. Why? Because I tell people audience is 1,000 times more powerful than a network. A network is strategic connections. They only talking to you because they want something from you. If you do not provide value in that relationship, they're not going to answer the phone, right? So when everybody was done with me, they didn't want to do business with me, block, spam, cancel. When you have an audience, that is an emotional connection. Those people are emotionally invested in you. I learned all this stuff at my lowest point, dog.
You got to serve them first.
This is why I tell you, if you want to know about somebody and how they operate, what do they do when they lose? Bro, don't judge me based off my situation. Judge me based off my response.
Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh.
You are now tuned in to the best roofing podcast in the world.
The Roof Trollz.
Roof Trollz, baby. We are back. So I have an awesome guest today. And full transparency, we have never even met each other up until the point where you're on the podcast now. We had a quick 5-minute or 10-minute Zoom when you had reached out because I put out an ad on Facebook. I don't even know what group you were in that saw that ad, but you messaged me and I was like, all right. I checked your Facebook page out and I'm like, all right, this guy seems cool. I was like, let's hop on a call. When me and you got on the call, I was like, oh, dude, I was like, this guy gets it. You get the marketing aspect of it. So with that introduction, introduce yourself, man.
What's up, y'all? So first of all, bro, thanks for having me on. Like, I really appreciate it. I'm super huge on energy, and I also watched some clips and some episodes you guys put out because like I said, I'm big on energy. And I see myself sitting and having a conversation with the person? And the answer was yes. So I'm here. But my name is Selah Brooks. I'm the owner of Phenomenal Photo Booth Company, and I just started another company which is called True Version Media, and we'll get into that too as we get deeper into the conversation. But I'm 26, man, and
a baby. I'll be 39, bro, at the end of the year.
You don't look like it.
I appreciate that.
Come on, man. What are you drinking?
I appreciate that.
I'm gonna need some of that.
You heard him first. Age like fine wine. I didn't say it.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to get on, bro. I feel like we're gonna have a real good conversation, man.
100%. At the worst, it'll be great talk.
Right.
You know, that's
right.
that's at the bare minimum for Roof Trollz. You're gonna get some just regular talk. So I'm intrigued by a couple things. So first off, after you told me what you did, we pretty much like solidified you're going to be the photographer for the Christmas party.
Right.
And you have the 360 platform, which is awesome. And that's so cool. So you told me a little bit about your background.
Yeah.
So before we get into the fun stuff, because I don't have that many marketers that come on here. We had a couple people that were on here a long time when we first started that got really that are really big in the marketing. But shout out Tyler and Teddy, by the way, if you guys are listening. So they're big into marketing, but like it's hard to find people that understand how valuable the camera is when you flip it around, you put yourself in front of it. Like people, at the end of the day, human beings still want to be connected with other human beings. That's what they crave for that. They want to feel drawn to someone. So you can offer services, and that's wonderful. You know, everybody's got a service that they offer, and we're all making money. That's great. But I feel like people want more than that. They want to hear about the struggles. They want to hear about the fuck ups. They want to hear about all that stuff because that's what they deal with on a day in and day out basis. That's normal human interaction. So I think that people that understand that you could bring some of the personal into business and then you grow a brand. And there's a difference between marketing and branding.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
And
man,
a lot of the guys don't get it.
Goosebumps right now.
Yeah, it's
come
crazy,
on,
bro, because it's medieval thinking that you could just put up a still image ad or run some money behind it, and you're just like, oh, hey, it hailed in this area, come work this area. Or in your instance, you know, are you having a wedding? Do you need a photographer? Click here. My rates are great. You know, that's wonderful. But then what do you do to brand? Because marketing is essentially what you say about yourself. Branding is what they say about you.
Mm-hmm.
So like you got to have a good, strong image to that. So like, how did you get into the position where you're owning the photography? Because when you were talking to me on the call, that's what's cool. So I want to hear about that.
I started working for a marketing company at 19. So my dad kicked me out. When we talk about like the real stuff, a lot of people's story to entrepreneurship probably don't start like that. So my dad kicked me out. I'm 19 years old. My car's broke down. Got no friends, no family, no money, no job. And so I had to really make some decisions for my life. And I told myself, you got nothing to lose. You might as well be what you want to be anyway. I've always been in sales. Bro, I've sold candy. Me and my homie from Cleveland, we started a lawn care business without a lawnmower. You know what I mean? Just like young kids, man. So I would go up to the door and I'd be like, hey, man, I cut grass. Your grass look like it need to be cut. Let me cut it for you. How much, man? 15 for the front, 15 for the back. I'll take their money. Thank you. And then I'll be like, hey, man, can I use your lawnmower? You feel what I'm saying? Like, but I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always like thought it was so cool to make money that way. So when I'm sleeping in my car, I'm like, bro, I'm a bet on myself. And so I end up taking an 100% commission-based sales job as a marketing rep. Didn't know anything about websites, Google ads, social media ads. I just knew that this is what I want to be. You know what I mean? So I bet on myself. And so I just started getting into it, right? And so my first year in sales, I made $3,000. My second year in sales, I made $21,000. Not good. I mean, bro, I remember I was giving my papers to my tax lady, and she was like, bro, what the hell you sound like? Penny candy? You know what I mean? Because it wasn't a lot of money.
Well, how are you going to stay in business? Yeah.
Right. So my third year working for that marketing company, bro, they hit $1 million in sales. Here's the kicker. I was the only sales rep, bro. So like I went through this transition period where I just learned how to hustle. I learned how to sell. I learned how to communicate value. But most importantly, bro, I learned how to build a brand. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but the difference was my third year in sales, I started telling people about my story. Yeah, man, when I started this, because a lot of people in entrepreneurship, bro, you either have it or you don't. That's one thing. The grit is the other thing. You either have it or you don't. A lot of people start trying to be entrepreneurs and they don't know what it takes to fully come into this world.
Bro, even now I see that in our industry, and it goes even deeper than that their mindset's not in the correct form either, because people think that first off, if you're an owner, you're automatically a millionaire. That's the way that people think.
Exactly.
The other thing is that they think that because we are entrepreneurs and we've been doing this for however amount of time that we've been doing this, they believe that everything is just like stress-free in our lives and then it's rainbows and sunshine. And that's not the case. When you become a business owner, you take on more stress.
Right.
You take on more guilt. You take on more, like, pressure. Hey, man, a ton of pressure. Right. It's built on pressure. I love pressure. Pressure to me is like when I know I need to perform, and I like being put in that position because I'm a dog. Like a hustling is like, that's all I've ever known too. Facts. So like anytime anything starts going good, I'm the type of guy that sits there and thinks like, oh, when am I going to fuck this up? Like something's going to go south. Like it is, dude. You got to prepare for that.
It's too quiet right now.
Yeah, dude. I don't like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I recently moved back into sales from marketing, and I had the itch of it because I was putting out these ads. I was trying to market with us, like running with Roman's Roofing, and then I found myself like I thought I was done with sales. I had been irritated about it. It'd been like 8 years of doing it. I'm like, bro, I'm fed up with this. I'm sick of doing the grind, door knocking, all that stuff. Right. So then I started. All right, well, I need to talk about my story and stuff like that. I've been doing some speaking event stuff. I'm like getting my face out there, podcasts and everything. And then what's happened now is that with the hype that I've been putting out there, I have somehow hyped myself back up. And now I'm like, oh, no, I'm a dog. Like, I need to get back in there. I miss it. So, like, now I'm, like, back in it. And I'm, like, I'm all in again. So it's just crazy. I wish that people understood all that goes into being an entrepreneur and how much more stress that you have to deal with because it doesn't go away.
So I would say to the point where you said that people think it's all sunshine and rainbows. The reason that is because a lot of entrepreneurs only show the wins on social media.
Yep.
That's all they show. They don't really talk about the losses. So, and it's like propaganda, like real estate, selling cars. No one's going to show the struggle. I'll talk about the struggle and I'll show it. That's what separates you. And so, when I was telling you, when I started sharing my story with people, talking about how, I was 19, I bet on myself, and I had the mentality to the point where you were saying my mentality was, bro, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to die in my car. There's no plan B for me. I'm going to be what I want or it's game over.
Yeah.
That's the mentality that I was operating under the whole time I was with that company. Because once you get out the struggle, like when you hit rock bottom, you know what that's like. I ain't going back there.
Yeah.
So I always will operate like I didn't want to go back in my car. So here I am, 19 years old. I'm out hustling people that been doing it for a long time, marketing sales I'm talking about. And you know you're doing a good job when your peers start to speak. All the other sales reps that was out there, at one point they didn't know who I was. I remember I was at this coffee shop one time, and there's a guy who runs another marketing company in Michigan City, right? Because I'll explain to you my day, right? Let's break this down and unpack it. So I would get to another city at 6 a.m. I live in LaPorte. Get to another city at 6 a.m. Why would I get to another city at 6 a.m.? I'm glad you asked. I would go to the coffee shops. People, business owners, entrepreneurs, bro, they start their days early. So I would go to these coffee shops. I would pass out my cards to people who need coffee. I'm going to these little bulletin boards. I'm picking up business cards, right? But I'm getting warmed up. So when 8 o'clock hit, because I hit all the barbershops first, the coffee places, right? They open up first.
Yep.
Then 8 o'clock hit. Then I'm going to swing doors. I'm going to business to business. I've already been at this for 2 hours. The average salesperson probably don't start their day till like 9 or 10 o'clock.
Well, you're being modest there.
Right. I'm trying to be fair,
Yeah,
right?
most door-to-door salesmen, they don't start their day until way later.
Right. And I'm just trying to, like, if you trying to hustle, I'm trying to be nice here, right? So not only was I in first, but by the time everybody else came, bro, yo, breakfast is my lunch, dog. I've already been at this, especially in the summertime, like days right now where the days are longer. I know people open up their business hours a lot later. I wouldn't be coming back home at probably like 6 or 7 o'clock. That was my full day. And that's if I ate lunch. Because when you're going around business to business, bro, I ain't got time for no 1 hour lunch.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
And so, to say that, bro, I was being inefficient with my routes. Drive all the way back here, come all the way back down here, go all the way back down here, go all the way back. So I'm really only probably hitting like 40, 45 businesses in that day, right? But what started to happen was when I went to that coffee shop, it was like, oh my gosh, bro, let me see that card. Because I told him who I was with. And he was like, bro, y'all are a huge company. Y'all got places like sales reps all over the place. Like, what? He's like, yeah, man. I go to my meetings, my clients got your card, all this other stuff. And he was like, how many sales reps y'all got? It's just me, bro. For real? Yes. I'm really like that.
Yeah.
We're not a huge company at all. I'm just putting in the work. He was like, well, how are you able to cover so much area? Because I'm not sitting here, having coffee, shooting the crap, bro. I'm out here working.
Yep.
And I left. Then I seen him again. He said, bro, it's crazy what you told me. He's like, man, at one point I didn't know who you was. And now everywhere I go, people know your name. And he's like, it's like it happened overnight, even though it didn't happen overnight. Because here's what I knew. Yeah, I wasn't that good. But one time I heard this video talking about the law of averages. The law of averages states if you do something long enough, right, or you do something X amount of times, you're going to get the results that you want.
Yeah.
When you're early in sales, bro, you need volume. You need to do numbers, right? Like my goal was how many doors can I knock? Because I knew that every time I took a loss, it's not a loss if you're getting data in return. So I would learn from my losses. So then when you get better, you don't need to hit 100 doors. You don't need to make 100 calls because you get better. You see what I'm saying? So like, let's say if you need to make 100 calls. If you get really good at cold calling, now you only need to do 20 calls to get a meeting. So I knew that, all right, starting off early, everybody can have more experience than me because I need to eat, bro. Like I'm still messed up at this time. You can have more experience than me. You can be older than me. You can be smarter than me. You're not gonna outwork me. You're not gonna out hustle me, and you're not gonna outgrind me.
Yep.
Because I already had the mentality. All the people that I was going against, first of all, they sold the marketing and did the work because kind of like in Northwest Indiana, I want to say a lot of the marketing companies, like the small marketing companies, probably all started around the same time. So I would do a lot of market research. I would figure out who was the players in the game. Who am I going up against? The owners, they sold and did the work. The marketing company that I worked for was the only guy at the time, the only company that had a dedicated sales guy, which is me. So I'm like, okay, there's literally no way that they should outsell me because my job is sales.
Yeah.
So not only am I getting more sales experience than them, but I'm getting more experience as I go. So I'm like, yeah, bro, I should dominate it. And then that's what I did. So like, we hit $1 million in sales. I found out that marketing company was playing me out of money, bro. They was doing me dirty. So and this is why it's really important for people to really understand like business, W-2s, 1099s, like don't sign a bad contract. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what was happening was
You gotta read it, man.
Right.
Read it. How many of your clients read your contracts real quick? How many of them read it? Like thoroughly read it?
I probably only had one dude thoroughly read it.
Bro, I tell people that all the time. This year we'll do anywhere between 12 and $18 million in insurance claim proceeds probably.
Dope.
Out of all of those, which is like 1,800, 1,900 contracts, out of all of those files, maybe more than that, maybe 10 people actually read the contract that they were signing. Maybe 10.
Yeah.
People sign 5 pages. I mean, we do everything by the book, but still, we could be not.
They skim,
5 pages without even looking.
Yeah. They skim, look at the price, and then let that make the decision and sign.
That's it.
I had one client who was like, hey, man, let's go over this contract. I'm reading some stuff. I took some notes. Let's do it together. In 5 years of marketing sales.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Well, yeah, I like those people, though. I like the ones that involve, educating and stuff like that, because people who seek knowledge on their own tend to be, the people you really want to be around and work with. Like those are the people that they want an understanding of what's going on, and then they'll find ways to make you even more efficient, because then you got to sharpen your game too.
Right. Yeah, and clients like that, it does make you a better salesperson. Not only that, but I like the clients that want to learn, because that means that it's when they understand what I know to some degree, it's easier for me to prove value.
Yep.
With the clients that just, hey, bro, pay it. They just, here's my money, do my marketing, and I'll see you in 30 days.
Yeah, because it's just so
report.
simple.
Right.
It's just so simple.
When we go there and we try to go through the report, since they have not been trying to understand what this stuff means, everything's numbers to them, right? Like, hey, man, we've been doing SEO for like 2 months. We're not seeing anything. And I told you this last month, bro. SEO takes time.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Dude.
So you feel what I'm saying? Because now,
unfortunately, all too well. Too well, man.
But when you become a type of sales rep that loves to serve your clients and loves to educate your clients, you build a connection with them. Because I'll tell you, like, hey, bro, you need to learn this shit. Why? Because I could be ripping you off. You don't have to know it as good as me. You have to know that somebody's not lying to you.
Yeah.
That's
you gotta
it.
understand it.
You have to understand it. Same thing like if you take your car to a repair shop, you don't have to be a mechanic, but I need to know whether he's telling me the truth or not about my car.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Because I'm paying you money. And if I pay somebody money, hey man, what does that mean? What does this mean? What is an exhaust manifold? What is that? Where is that on the car? I'm asking questions.
That's why I think that with our content, the ones that we do the best on are the ones that are educating the homeowner. And the best part is, and I tell people all the time when they ask me, like, what's my opinion on marketing or how do I view marketing, stuff like that, I say the one thing that all of you guys aren't doing that I'm willing to do is I will teach a homeowner how not to use me. I will teach them how to do it on their own so I'm not needed. And then I will teach them all the shitty and shady ass tactics that contractors are known for. And I will throw that to them too so that they understand going into it, even if it's not with me, what to watch out for.
Right.
And that's because I do things by the book. They don't. So I'm going to feed my client base so they understand that they at least don't get screwed by someone else. Yeah. Because I believe that there is more than enough out there for everybody to eat. I don't need to feast on every single homeowner. Not only that, I don't want to work with every homeowner. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it ain't a fit for me. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah. And so, you know what, too? Like, and I was just having a conversation with a buddy of mine a few days ago. When you are operating under the scarcity mindset, you literally look at everything as like, like, for example, I got to eat. I got to get this clothes. Got to get this clothes. Like, no, bro. And then you start looking at competitors and all this other stuff. When you look at things from an abundance mindset, there is no shortage of clients. None. There is no shortage of money.
Agreed.
Right?
I don't even think price matters. Agreed.
Facts. Yeah. When you're looking at things as an abundance mindset, it literally changes the way you communicate to people. Because if you're hungry for that sale, you're hungry for that deal, it feels weird on the other end, because now you're starting to talk with that pressure. Yeah. Now you're starting to say things and they can feel it, even though they don't know what you're going through, but you're operating and selling under the scarcity mindset. Yep. When I was hungry in my car and I really needed to close, I did not get that close because how I came off to the customer with the
they know you need it. Yeah, they know you need it.
One, people who are educated buyers and are smart buyers, they've been through the process a long time. Yeah, they're going to use that as leverage.
And not only that, but most people who are at least have half a brain, they're not going to close the first time you sit with them. Right. Like, it's going to take a little bit of time.
Some follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned all these things being on the journey, bro. And when I ended up leaving that marketing company, I went to the next marketing company. I got laid off after 6 months. That's what started the photo booth. Because here's what I realized. As a kid, I used to think that if you worked a W-2 job, you were losing. Because if you make $20 an hour, you're only making $20 in 1 hour. If you're in sales and you close a deal in 1 hour, you're making a lot more money than $20, right? So I'm like, man, I'm going to go that route. Because even when I was a kid, my friends are working at Wendy's making $7.25 an hour, right? I just cut grass, bro. And you give me a couple of hours, bro, I'm gonna have a couple $100.
No, you sell every day.
Right.
You don't understand that. Like, you sell every day. Everybody always tells me, I don't think I could do sales. You do it.
Yeah.
You do it now. Have you ever gone to a shop and negotiated a price down? Have you ever asked a scalper or somebody on Marketplace to come down in their price? Have you ever you convinced a girl to go on a date with you? Convince a girl to go upstairs with you? Like, you've done all those things. Like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
The people who say that they can't be they just have a confidence issue.
They do.
They have a confidence issue
and a hustle issue. They might be telling you secretly. When I hear it, I can't sell. That's what it's either one of two things. It's lack of confidence, or you're just not a hustler. Right. Like, you're lazy. Right. So then that's when you say,
rather
I can't
work a job and be comfortable.
I hate it, dude.
A lot of those people don't do good under pressure.
No,
they do not do good under pressure.
And the conversation's so stupid. You alluded to $20. There's less than that. I have had cats come in here that make $11 to $12 an hour at Target, and then they have the audacity to ask me why I don't do a salary, or what could what type of salary could we work out? None. None. Yeah. You're working somewhere right now that told you $11 to $15 an hour is your value, and you have accepted that. And then you want to come here and ask me what I don't do salaries, bro. This is before we did. Now we do, but that's a different situation. So before, it was like, no, man, you're going to come here and you get to paint your own check. You get to make what you want. Our guys have a salary now, but that's because after 2 years of this and understanding that in our industry, the turnover rate for a sales rep is usually 2 to 3 years. And that's just something the roofing industry accepts. I hear that shit all the time. They're like, well, it's only 2 to 3 years. Well, yeah, dude, because you keep saying that. Because you guys have somehow convinced yourselves that that's the only, what I'm saying, like, sales is so we'll just piss away the sales rep, we'll get a new one. They've convinced themselves that all the money that comes in, it's not worth rewarding those guys or paying them long term. So we just accept 2 to 3 year turnover rate instead of understanding that it's the leadership that we provide to them. We're not closing the door in 2 years, so why in the fuck are you letting your sales reps go? Shit don't make any sense. Teach them.
Here's the thing, because it's a mindset issue. Business owners, everything's about, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Most of them.
A lot of them is just like, I want to make the most profit, right? So, for example, you can have a sales rep and you put them on a 1099. Why? Because at that point, they don't cost you money. This shit don't make you money. If you really want the money, go out there and put in the work, right?
Yep.
That sales rep gets really good at what he do. Think of it as like the NFL. I'm on a rookie contract, right? Once I feel like I've hit my prime, my peak value, I'm going to renegotiate. I've made you a lot more money than you've paid me. I want to get compensated, because the more money you make, what do? You start taking on more responsibilities. You start getting married. You start having kids. Sales reps are looking for a job that grows with them.
Yep.
As a business owner, they think that a lot of sales reps are replaceable. Well, you did, because they start to think that they were the reason why you started to be successful.
Dude,
no, bro.
So spot on.
You do not get a lot of great sales reps. They're not just walking in the door producing $1 million in sales.
Nope.
Right? So,
and the ones that do, they bring a shit ton of bad habits with them.
Exactly. So what I used to tell my clients was like, bro, take care of your salespeople, because you might be Pat Riley. You might can spot a guy in the 6th round and say that guy got potential, because that's what happened to me, and you nurture that potential. But he did all the work, bro. You didn't give him handouts.
Dude.
So
I just got done. I had a webinar yesterday online, and I just got done telling the guy that exact same thing, is that we fall in love with thinking that we're the person that did it, when that's not the case. Like, sales is the hardest part of the job. And in our industry, they say it's the easiest. And the ones that say it's the easiest haven't done it for 10, 15, 20 years, or maybe even never done it at all. Sales, I tell people, they're like, you want me to explain sales to you, what we do on a day-in-day out basis? This is what we do. The next time you guys are at the mall, I want you to walk up and I want you to tap on someone's shoulder. And when they turn around, I want you to tell them about how you can get their roof approved through the insurance company based off of storm-related damages. Are they interested? In the middle of their meal and everything, in the middle of that court hall and everything, I want you to do that. And then I want you to sit down with 5 sheets of paper, and I want you to have them sign it, including giving you personal information and a policy number and everything. I want you to do that. And then you let me know how it went for you. And then when you say you wouldn't do that or you couldn't do that, that's what my dudes do on a day in and day out basis.
Whether they
and
get
they
paid
nail
or not.
it.
Whether they get paid or if you're commissioned, some days you're going home with the L.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
It's just, and
well, our guys. So full disclosure, our guys have a salary now. But the only reason they did that is because I got tired of seeing that 2 to 3 year turnover rate. So what I thought was, I was like, all right, why don't we invest in these guys and truly stand back by what we say we do? Like truly stand on that market. I want to be a destination spot for sales reps. So these guys got base pay plus endless commission plus dental, health, vision, and we do 401k with a 3% match. Plus I got in-house leads and trucks.
you're right. So check this out. This is why I if someone is in sales, I start telling them, bro, like, know what a good deal and a bad deal looks like. You give your guys that. When I started, the company was brand new, so I was a 1099. I was a 1099 all 5 years.
Oh, bro, I was 1099 for 8 years straight before I got into W-2s. Yeah.
So you know it's no benefits. You know what I mean? I got no gas card. None of that stuff that it starts to become important when you start to have kids, when you start to have a family, when you start to become an adult, when you start to get more responsibilities. You
start adding up everything. You're like, well, hold on a second. Now they're paying me 10%, and they're still rapidly building these. What are they paying to get these bills done? What do they pay their subs? And wheels start turning. You're like, damn, they're making this much money. You know, but then they don't understand all the things like, when you become an owner, you realize where all the expenses are. We do make good money, but it ain't anywhere. I wish I made the money they think I make.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I wish.
But when you decide to be a business owner, bro, sometimes you're gonna go hungry, dog.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that is the responsibility and pressure that you take on.
We went 4 months when we started this, 4 months without a check, so our guys could get paid.
Exactly.
4 months.
And that's how it should be, right? A lot of people talk about big stuff. They don't do big stuff, right? And so when I was sitting down as a 19-year-old kid, I didn't understand 1099s. What happened to me was they would pay me for the commission, but I wasn't getting paid for the work. Meaning, like, for example, let's say you own a landscape company. That sales rep goes B2B and sells you, right? You get clients.
Yep.
You pay him commission on that sale. That same sales rep turns around and do the labor for the landscaping, and he's not even making money on that. I would get commission for the websites and the marketing that I sold. But when I was doing the photo shoots, if I'm going to video shoots, I'm sitting down listening to all these phone calls through Google Ads, making sure we're getting good quality calls, all that stuff. I'm not getting paid for that, bro. I basically was doing sales and account management. You paid me for the sale, but for 5 years, they got free labor off me, dog. So now that I know that, and I'm thankful it happened, is because now I know what a bad deal looks like.
Yep.
When I was laid off, when I told you the other marketing companies laid me off, what I found out was, and this is what really made me go into doing my own thing, is when someone knows you need something and you communicate that, they now have leverage. People, like I said, people know your name if you're doing a great job. Why the hell don't you have a job? I got laid off, bro. Okay. I would go through the interview. I would come back for the second interview. Here's this commission structure. It's crappy as hell. They're trying to make pennies off. Take this or take nothing. I'm not taking that, bro, because I know my worth. The same thing that you said when people go on the Target or whatever and they're accepting $11 an hour, bro. If good and damn well I'm going to make you a lot of money, but they have the leverage because they know I need a job
and no confidence in backing what they stand on.
Right.
So if you're good at something, never do it for free. That's a rule. But also at the same time, like, even if you are desperate, you can't reek of desperation because people will take advantage.
Yeah,
that's human nature. And there are people out there. I'm one of them that pick up vibes off people. So you can gauge them just sitting in there having a casual conversation and know the majority of what they're feeling, at least during that conversation. We always say, like, sales is superpowers. So you can either be a superhero or a supervillain. You learn how to manipulate conversations. You learn how to read people at the door. You learn how to quickly gauge who they are as an individual, and then you prey on what they need. And there's tactics that we have where in a casual conversation, you may spark an interest in them to trigger out what it is that's bothering them. Once you have that, then the rest of your conversations mold around that. Yeah. So then our sales reps, you have a choice at that point to either be a good human being, a superhero, and help the people that need your help, or you become a piece of shit and you manipulate conversations and you try to sway that in your advantage to milk people. And unfortunately, it goes 50-50.
Right.
So only half of them are going to do it right and half of them are going to do it wrong. So that's a tough thing to have people overcome.
And it's crazy because I was listening to a podcast, and I know we're going to talk about it, but the guy was saying, he was talking about personal branding. He said, you already have a personal brand. You just don't know that you do. All a personal brand is how people perceive you, right? And what I teach people about personal branding, if I said, hey, man, give me 5 words that your closest friends, your closest family members will use to describe you, right? Funny, caring, whatever, right? 5 words. If people can't say the same thing about you everywhere you go, you don't have a strong personal brand. If we look at it and take the online part out of it, and we just look at it in your community, and you're in sales, if you are ripping people off, you're going to have a personal brand as a snake, as a slimy sales. That is your brand. And if you do that to everybody and everybody starts to say that about you, that's who you are, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible talks about, it says, and the Bible people don't like rip me on, like go crazy, because I'm just paraphrasing here, right?
Yeah.
But it says, chase a great name rather than great riches, right? Like, who are you, bro? What is your name stand for, right?
Yep.
And so when you just go and do things to try to chase a great name, the money will come. When you start to try to chase great riches and you don't care about your name, bro, your stuff about to expire like some milk, dog. Because you put the money first.
Yep.
Everything needs to be like a chess move, bro. Like, how do I get farther in the game?
Yeah.
When you start to make moves where all right, I'm going to rip this person off. That person is going to go tell everybody and their mama.
Mm-hmm.
You are literally putting yourself in a position where you can make less moves. You're going to get back into a corner. There's a lot of marketing companies that do that. Then they move to a different city. They rebrand under a new name, which technically you got a fresh start, dog. And then you did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
That is who you are.
Yep. I tell our guys all the time that's marketing and branding, man. You know, marketing is what you tell people you are. Branding is what they say about you. And I think that, they rush. People are waiting for some big, large return on this shit so quickly. And it's just it's not what it is. And you got to put money behind it. You have to speak your truth. People need to know who you are first before you can ask for money. And then my problem is that I run into a lot is that there's a way to evolve to the next level.
Facts.
But instead of doing that, you're chasing money. But you don't know how much money's on that next level because you've never been there. But we're in a position right now to get to that next level, and you're halting it again because you have a small mindset and you're aiming for this. And then people are always like, oh, well, you know, we don't know what's over there, but over here we can get $1 million. Well, that's the thing, though. You don't know what's on that next level. So how about you level up first, see what it looks like there, because there's a lot of people that didn't go to that level because they stopped where you did because they wanted money, and let's see what that looks like.
Right.
In my opinion, that's the same thing like you said. You got to grow with your people. So, like, the business has to keep growing, too. And people get into owning a business because they have a mindset of selling a business right away. If you get into a business with the intent to sell a business, you're going to fail.
Yep.
You're shortchanging yourself. And 2, the reason people are interested in purchasing you to begin with is because you're on the right track. You're doing something that's caught their attention.
Right.
So go to a new level to attract new buyers, to another level to attract more buyers. Like you're never going to make less money making more money. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense.
Those people have a personal development problem.
Yep.
You don't want to do the work. My granddad said, the more you learn, the more you earn. The more you know, the more you grow. Everybody has, if you look at yourself, and we call it versions, right? The version of myself that slept in my car, that was version 0. How I got better was I would go into a meeting, I would take out my phone, put my phone face down, I would voice record the meeting. I would do the meeting, go back to my car, I would listen to the meeting. What questions was I asking? When he communicated that, this is really what he meant, right? Like you start to, it's like when you play football, you start to break down film. This is what I was doing, and I'll be taking my little notes, right? And so what I was doing was I was literally updating my system. So now when I go back in front of all, because you got to remember, bro, I was 19. These business owners are 30, 40, 50. They didn't seen, if you've been doing business for 20 years, you didn't seen 20 years worth of salespeople. So I need to get better quickly. And it's not about what you learn. It's about implementing what you learn, how fast you implement what you learn. As soon as I figured out where I went wrong, oh, snap, bro. It got to the point where I was sitting in a meeting, and then this is how you know you're getting better at what you do, when you can start predicting. When you know what they're about to say out of their mouth before they even say it, this is how you know you get better. It's like you're inserting yourself into their mind, right? And so, man, I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, this dude is thinking, he probably gonna give me 3 different objections. this is probably going to be the 3 objections that he gave me. But I listened to so many calls, bro. A lot of, like, for example, if you played a lot of football, you're going to see a lot of the same scenarios. All right, man, I've been here before. 3rd and 2, right? This remind me of this game where we was in the same situation. It's just a remix. If you know how to watch film, you know how to break down what you're doing, and you try to get better at what you do, you're going to instantly be able to, like, it's called play recognition. You're going to recognize, oh, snap, I know what's coming, right? This is going to be an objection. Or if you don't say anything and you don't talk, you let them process what you said and then let them speak. Because the person who speaks first loses in the close.
Yep, 100%.
I learned this stuff at 19, dog.
Do you know who Patrick Carr is?
No.
Oh, dude, you need to look up Patrick Carr and follow him on Instagram. But he's a social media guy. He does a lot of roofing stuff, but he does shit outside of roofing too. But he has the five. I forget what it's called, 5 something rule. But it works, dude. You record yourself, and then you play it back and you listen to it. So you record yourself 5 times, a total of 5 minutes, and then you watch all 5-minute videos, and then you listen to yourself on audio for 5 minutes, and then you record again. And what I think that's how it goes. I have to look at how he breaks it down. But essentially, what you're doing is you start to pick up on the ums, you start to pick up on what you trail off about or how you sound, and then it makes you better.
It makes you a better communicator.
Dude, you should have heard the first few episodes of the podcast. It sucked. we were so bad. It was so bad.
Right.
Somehow the roofing industry was friendly with us and like nice, whatever, because we have a good reputation with people, so I've been able to pull some pretty. If I was any other podcast, some of the guests I got on, I would never been able to get on here. But because we are who we are, we were able to use our networks to get those people. But it's amazing that they were pretty like lenient with us for a little bit because, man, I would not have given us a chance after like 5 episodes. I'm like, God, these guys suck.
But you grew,
but it got
bro.
it got better. It got better.
Yeah.
We watched it. We listened to it. We were like, all right, fuck, I need to stop saying this, start saying this, whatever, and then just have a little bit of fun with it.
That's how you become a better communicator.
Yep.
And this is like a saying, like in the morning I write things down, right? Like, and I tell people I am on a knowledge journey.
Yep.
There is no destination for me. There's not going to be an end because I'm always looking to learn. And if you become a powerful communicator and you continue to learn how to communicate, surprisingly, you'll make more money.
That's the way to make the most money. The top. We had a door-to-door coach, but he also teaches the philosophies behind that.
Okay.
Sean Bryant, he was actually on my podcast too. Great dude. We went live with him. But he breaks that down too. So the top paying jobs in the world are communicators, like entertainers, actors, all that stuff. They speaking people, like front faces of Fortune 500 and stuff, like those people get paid the most out of anybody because they've obtained a talent that a lot of people don't have, and that's the ability to communicate clearly and thoroughly. They can motivate people. Those are the people that get paid really, really well. So you need to really hone in for people who are looking to take their income to the next level. Become a better speaker. Learn how to communicate with every room you're in.
So I'll give you this bomb of knowledge that I learned at 19 sleeping in my car, right? So I tried to sell this dude this hoodie, and he didn't buy it. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, bro, why didn't he buy my hoodie? Because the only way I could make money when I slept in my car was selling the clothes that I didn't need. So he didn't buy my hoodie. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, dang, bro, that's super messed up. And I started to think back on the conversation. So I was having a shitty morning. I went out there to try to sell stuff, and people picked up on my energy, right? And so I was like, okay, man, that's probably why he didn't buy it. The next morning I woke up with a better attitude. Somebody bought my hoodie. I was literally fascinated by this. I went to the library, right? I ain't got nothing to do anyway all day. I went to the library and I started doing research on communication. There's a guy named Albert Morabian, and he has something that's called it's called Albert Morabian's theory on communication. And he's giving you the breakdown on communicating. And I forget the percentages, but it's like 55% of a conversation is body language. It's not even the words, bro. It's literally your body language.
How you deliver it, yeah.
And then I think 38% is your tonality, and then if I'm correctly, 7% is the actual words that you say. I'm sitting there as a kid, I'm like breaking this down. I was like, okay, if you think about it, because I grew up in Cleveland, bro, it's the hood. If somebody walks up to me and they don't look like they look like they trying to do something, before you open your mouth, I'm gonna punch you in yours because your body language messed up. I don't have time to figure out if you're not a threat or not.
Yep.
Before you even open your mouth, I've already broken down your body language and assumed this dude's a threat and we got a problem based off your body language.
Yep.
Right? So when you have good body language and your tonality, are you calm? Are you angry? Are you upset? Your tonality, how you're saying those words. Then people actually are going to pay attention to the words that come out of your mouth at the end. I fully agree with that theory, bro. Your body language is communicating before you even open your mouth. So this is exactly why when I talk about like being a powerful communicator, it's not just your speaking, bro. How do you carry yourself? When you're talking to people, are you looking them in their eyes?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because a lot of times if you're not looking people in your eyes, why you ain't telling the truth?
Yeah.
You ashamed, right? It's all about how you carry yourself. And this is the thing, bro. People, I know they say we shouldn't judge people, but we always subconsciously judging people. It's
100%.
human nature.
Yeah, it's human nature.
When you walk into the door, I am breaking you down.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not trying to do it on purpose. When I started to figure this out and I started to go through my sales career, I became a powerful networker, bro. You can put me in any room and I'm going to walk away with a lot of connections because since I understood this and I went and practiced these theories, and the best time to practice is when you suck. Don't nobody care anyway, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll go in there and I'll just like be trying to do different body language and check out my tonality, or I will watch other people's conversation and how they interacted with each other.
Well, that's what so that's the main thing that I've been doing. So I read a book called Gap Selling. And it teaches you how to fill in the fluff instead of talking like that and be a better communicator. Plus, storytelling is like one of the most important things too. Is that you have to be captivating. You have to gain people's attention because that's the number one thing. Like that's the number one asset in the world is people's attention. Once you grab that, they're already locked into you. Then it's all about, you perform because all business is show business. So like what type of show can you put on for these people? And then you touch base on something else. What was cool was like the energy you bring and the fact that people judge. So there's a book out there called The Way of the Wolf with Jordan Belfort. And he has the straight line theory that he created. And say what they want about him. That dude's an amazing salesman, but he's
the supervillain that you talked about.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, he used it. Yeah, he used it in the wrong way.
Now he's changed his ways.
Yes, and now he's using it in the right way. So yes, he saved himself. But he had the theory where you show up and it's I believe, and I don't want to crush it's the straight line sale. I've taught it many times, but it's sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as fuck, and an expert in your field. Those are his three things. And the reason you got to do that is because most people will make their assessment on you within the first 7 to 15 seconds.
Right.
So like people don't understand that. That's why that's what makes us so effective at a door too, is because not only do we understand that, we're the masters of it.
So
because
good.
I know that I only have that. So I tend, when I talk to people, I tend to be more engaging than normal people do in their conversations. And a lot of people will be like, dude, you talk with a lot of passion or energy and stuff like. That's the only way I know how to do this. Like, I've been doing this so long that like I know that I got to engage with people to even have them remotely interested in what I'm saying. Roofing's boring. That's the other thing too. Roofing is so boring.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to talk about it and make it not so boring. And that's my biggest struggle on Ryan right now. Is like, dude, I got to get people's attention, but I can't talk about roofing because it sucks.
That's what changed for me, bro. When people look at my photo booth business and what I told you, so first of all, dog, like I said, I was laid off, right? Almost the same situation I was when I was in my car, but I was laid off, $0 in every bank account, maxed out credit card. My car was broke down. My AC broke in the summertime. My wife woke me up and said, "Hey, I'm pregnant." So now I already got a 3-year-old. I got another baby on the way, and I got court papers in my mailbox from the other company, bro. I'm dealing with all this pressure, right? When I posted stuff about my photo booth business, my dog, it flopped.
Yeah.
No attention, no engagements, nothing.
Yep.
I need to make money. Part of the problem that I was also dealing with was, so since my name was getting dragged through the mud so badly, I could not get a sales job, bro. And 95% of my business connection, circle of influence, whatever you want to call it, when I was trying to rent my photo booth, bro, they didn't answer the phone. So now I don't have a network. When I started posting stuff on social media about my life and what I was going through, talking about, hey, I got laid off from this job. The only way I can make money is to rent my photo booth and I'm not going to fail. It spiked. Why? Because I tell people audience is 1,000 times more powerful than a network. A network is strategic connections. They only talking to you because they want something from you. If you do not provide value in that relationship, they're not going to answer the phone, right? So when everybody was done with me, they didn't want to do business with me, block, spam, cancel. When you have an audience, that is an emotional connection. Those people are emotionally invested in you. What you were talking about in the beginning, when you saying like, people want to relate to you. People want to see the real. They don't want to see the wins. You got to show the losses too. I started showing my losses on social media, and then social media exploded my photo booth business. I stopped talking about photo booths, and I literally started talking about me. What I teach people in my class, I talk about to me, my framework for personal branding, I have my own philosophy behind it, and it's based off what I went through. I don't call myself a marketer, bro. I don't think I'm a marketer at all. I don't even claim to be a marketing expert. All I can tell you was there was 2 seasons in my life where I was effed up, and now I'm not.
Yep.
The reason is because when I started sharing what I was going through, my framework, I believe there's 2 core pillars to personal branding: vulnerability and authenticity. When you start being vulnerable online, it creates attention. So I call it the vulnerability formula. Vulnerability equals relatability, which equals memorability. Since I was vulnerable, people, they started to relate to me. And since they started to relate to me, they started remembering me. So when they needed a photo booth, hey, let's go with that guy.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of my content that I post on my Facebook page right now, my personal Facebook page, has nothing to do with photo booths.
Yeah, dude.
When you build a personal brand and people, they like you, they trust you, they relate to you, bro, they will buy from you. That is it. So when you talked about turning on that camera, and I started to figure out like, man, I need to become the brand. I need to become the product. People, they're not renting my photo booth because I got the best photo booth in the world, bro. There's DJs with the same photo booths as me. There's photographers with the same photo booths as me. The difference is me. Same thing with marketing sales, bro.
I tell my partners this all the time, that the money and all the stuff that they chase is going to come from people who can relate to us.
Right.
It's going to come from people not in our networks. The network is a focal point for most businesses. And while I agree, when you're in business, you need to have a strong network. You need to care about your audience more than you care about that network. Right. Because like you said, one thing goes south in that network, or you don't align with them for something in that network, that's the end of that network. Yeah. So then you know, what do you fall back on?
Right.
You stop branding and you started just asking for leads. Do you think that the people who like your ads for leads are going to go do business? No, dude. Mm-mm. No, you need to keep branding and building your awareness and making people acknowledge what you are and your story. And that's why I tell people too, you may not be interested in what I'm saying. I'm not a fucking influencer. I'm not a coach. I have no intentions on doing either one of those things. Mm-hmm. But I did go from $29,000 a year to $300,000 a year. I did it in 7 years, and I did it with zero education. So someone is going to want to hear that. And I can help somebody not hit rock bottom if they just listen to what I did. And I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all, and it definitely isn't. It doesn't work for everybody. But either way, I got to think that somebody would be interested in 10 timesing their income in 7 years. I just got to think somebody out there wants to hear that.
Facts.
Yeah.
And here's the problem that I think a lot of people have, right? You have people that are in the industry that's been doing it for a long time. They think people outside the industry don't know nothing. That's not the case. And I'll give you a prime example, bro. I worked for a marketing company, right? I did the sales. I didn't actually do the work.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to market a business, bro. I just sold it. Marketing companies for sales reps, they don't teach you how to do the work. They teach you how to sell good. They teach you how to sell it. The same way a car salesman can sell a car, but he can't build it.
Yeah.
So when I went over to...
I can't build a roof. I tell people all the time, you think I'm joking? It's been 10 years. I have never laid a shingle a day in my life. Done some repairs. I've seen it done.
Right.
I've overseen hundreds of, I've honestly, at this point, I've probably overseen $100 million in insurance claim proceeds. So I've seen a ton of builds go on.
Right.
But I never laid if you gave me a hammer and nails, I would fuck your roof up.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
You would not get a call back, right?
Yeah,
right?
I don't know how to do it. Yeah.
So what I tell people is like, bro, you have to understand that this is the information age. People, they can learn stuff and know just as much as you, even though they're not in your industry. Right? So when I started learning about personal branding and social media marketing, I didn't work under a marketing company. I didn't go to a fancy university and have paperwork and have all these, degrees saying that I'm an expert in marketing. I tell people when they take my class, or I tell people in general, dog, all I can tell you was I was in this season, I'm super effed up. I got all these problems going on. I learned how to create a brand. I learned how to build an audience, and it changed for me. A lot of people, they do not practice what they preach. You have people that talk about personal branding that never created a personal brand. I learned through the fire, and this is what I came out as, right? You have marketing companies, right? And here's the thing. Some of them do a really great job at social media marketing. Some of them really, really suck. The same thing that they post on their Instagram page is the same thing that they're charging for, bro. It's probably $500 to $1,500 a month. And this is what they're posting.
I get it all day, dude. We get those messages. Dude, I can help build your business. I can grow it up. You know, I'm a professional marketer. I help other YouTube channels and stuff. And then you go to their YouTube channel. It's like, dude, if you're a professional, then how come you don't have 10 million followers?
Right.
Like, if you're going to sit here and tell me that my money, my $50,000 a year is going to help me get 10 million followers, why haven't you done it yet? And I always message them back. I'm like, hey, man, you know, if you had 10 million followers right now, I'd write you a check for 100 G's.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually had what you were saying you did, I would already write it for you. Or the best one is I can double your business. Really? Well, what I do last year?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know.
See, but these are just lines that they're saying.
I know. You don't even know.
This is the problem, bro. Like, first of all, I learned that you do not have to have a large audience or a huge following to get paid.
Nope.
There is a guy named Myron Golden. You might know of him. He's old, but he's rich and he knows a lot of stuff. He has a phrase, and this phrase is in the form of a question. And he says, do we believe in something because it's true, or is it true because we believe that it is? That phrase is talking about limiting beliefs. I used to think because I'm not rich and because I don't have 100,000 followers on social media and I'm not famous, that social media couldn't work for me. When I went on my personal branding journey, dog, and because I don't have 100,000 followers, but people in my audience paid me. You do not have to have a huge audience to get paid. And this is why I tell you that an audience is 1,000 times more powerful than a network, because this is what I tell people about an audience, right? Let's say it's one person in this room. It's just me and you, right? You're one person in my audience. If you pay me one time, I still got paid. There can be 10 people in your audience. If 10 people pay you one time, you still got paid. You can have 100 people in your audience. If 100 people pay you one time, you still get paid. You can have 5,000 people in your audience. If 5,000 people pay you one time, you still get paid. What's the point? In our society, we think that these numbers it's not a lot. Bro, 100 people can't fit in this room, right? Even if you have a small audience, if you create a personal brand and you have the reputation of delivering the goods, they like you, they trust you, they can relate to you. All you have to do is create an offer. And they will buy from you because they believe in you and they trust you because you built a good name. Here's an example. I sold digital marketing, right? My marketing clients also purchase my photo booth. My photo booth clients, they also purchase my workshops. Those are 3 different services. I still got paid, bro. When you create a personal brand, it don't even matter what you sell.
Yep.
It does not matter. Digital marketing, they didn't matter. Photo booths don't matter. I'm selling a workshop. It doesn't matter because the people in my audience are still buying from me. So when you have these people, they might have 100 million followers. Are they loyal followers? You got 100,000 followers. Are they loyal followers? Meaning, are they going to stick with you through the thick and thin? Do they actually pay you money? People run followers up all day long. But if none of them can if you don't have a vulnerable brand where they can relate to you and you don't have brand authenticity, which means you're yourself everywhere that you go. You stand on your business and your audience know that. If you do not have that, then you don't even have a loyal audience, bro.
That's what I tell them. So that was the thought process. But on our website, we have all of our sales reps that make videos. They send them to me. We post them on there. And the reason we do that is because I told them that too. The homeowners need to see you guys how you are at work. They need to see you are after you pick up the check. They need to see how you guys are during the build. They need to see you on roofs. They need to see you.
Right.
So they know that that's the person that they're genuinely working with. Once you win them over, they're going to want to do business with you anyway. We educate them because subliminally they're going to know that we're the ones that taught them how to do that. So when something goes south, they're going to say, hey, hang on a second. Let's call Romans. Those guys are cool. And then interaction is a big thing. People got to interact with your post. If you have a ton of followers, then you should have a ton of shares. You should have a ton of likes. You should have a ton of, continuous follows
Right.
and engagements on. Yeah, people should be commenting. People should be leaving reviews. People should be doing all those things. So like, there's more. It's much deeper than a lot of people even realize. I think on social media, and they don't understand it. Ryan Stewman, do you know who that is? So Ryan Stewman just put up a post the other day, and he was a guest on the podcast here too. Dude is huge into marketing. You should follow him. So he put up a post and he said, what did he say? He said he when he first started. I don't want to chop the guy's last name. You know, Dan Brazil or whatever, the dude with all.
No.
Oh,
Dude, I got to get a list of these people.
Bro,
He's
this dude. He's a billionaire, and he always has like 8 chicks with him, and he like that's like his thing. That's like what he's known for. So he said that Ryan Stewman said it when he first started. He hit him up, and he was gonna buy followers. That's what the promotion was, to get 100,000 followers. And he said that he acquired them and he paid for it. And what it ended up happening was like half of them, if not even more than that, were all like fake. And he's like, this dude has got 100 million. He's the king of social media. And then he sent you a bunch of fake shit. And then he said it took him 3 years to clean them all off his shit to rebrand himself. And then he ended up back where he is now, in a better spot than he was when he purchased them. But that just goes to show you, like, don't believe everything you're seeing either with the followers too, because a lot of these people, just like a lot of businesses, they buy fake reviews, they buy fake followers and stuff. Yeah, it's crazy out there.
And you know what? And here's the thing too, bro. This is a great comparison, right? Like when you are building an audience, and I don't say like create an audience. You need to build it, bro. Brick by brick. When you build an audience, it's like SEO. It takes a lot of time. This is exactly why people don't want to do it, right? When you start paying for an audience, it's like Google Ads. Once you stop paying, it goes away. It's all there's nothing built on anything other than your dollars, bro. And this is exactly why when COVID happened, a lot of businesses out of there, because they relied on their marketing as their sales and as their branding, right? And as their marketing.
Yeah.
They're different departments, dog.
COVID was the greatest thing that ever happened to roofing. Just so you know, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to us. People longed for conversations so much that they were calling us to come out and speak with them. Literally, people were wanting to sign deals just to have just to have an interaction with another human being.
Dude,
like
that's what's up.
So many phone calls, and then the government labeled us as essential workers because of the construction. So like, oh yeah, they're essential, so they can keep working. It was, dude, it boomed. I think everybody in the roofing industry, if you were operating in 2020, you were crushing it.
That's the year I had $1 million in sales.
Yeah. Oh, we crushed. Yeah, we had 2.5 inch hail in Valpo, and then COVID happened. You couldn't knock doors, so no competitors could be out. And then, like you said, the ones that were running ads, they had nothing left. And then we had a reputation, so it was just hitting us up. I'm like, dude, we just crushed it.
And here's the thing. What I used to explain to my clients, everybody, whether you're a new business owner, you're an established business owner, everybody just runs straight for the ads. You know what I mean? They just want to be at the top of Google. They want to do Facebook ads, all this stuff. What is it built off of? Right? Meaning that, like, are you really, if you have to run these ads all the time, I'm going to ask you, are you really taking care of your clients, bro? Why do you need so many more new business? If you take care of the clients that you got, you can get a sale. And what I learned in sales is the easiest sale to get is the one that you already got, meaning repeat business.
Yep.
You can have one client, and that one client can buy 5 things from you, bro. You don't have to go get 5 new clients. A lot of people don't understand that concept. So they're running around with their business. It's like a bucket with a hole at the bottom, and they keep trying to fill it up with water, wondering why my bucket's never full. Because when you're doing all these ads and you're not really worried about client retention, right? You're not trying to build a brand that when you build a brand, they call you. They remember you. When you keep just doing paid ads, and all of a sudden you can't do paid ads anymore, and your business is literally like a revolving door, and is literally like feeding off the paid ads. When you can't do paid ads anymore, it's like somebody cut the water off. Now you're going downhill, because you know why? You didn't keep good sales reps. Now you got all these sales reps for turnover because you ain't got people hitting the streets, right? So your sales suck. Then your actual marketing, the stuff that you post, all that stuff suck, right? Now you can't do paid ads, and now you're about to expire like milk. Again, I do not claim to be an expert, but I did sell some of the marketing, so I know what I'm talking about. I've dealt with clients that went out of business. Hey, man, sorry, bro. We can't do it anymore. A lot of companies that sell the digital marketing, all of them push ads. I can't tell you one personal branding company in the area. That's why I created one. Because when you start teaching people how to get behind that camera and create a personal brand, and you can start doing it organically, you don't need, I'm not saying paid ads is bad, but that should not be your go-to move, bro. You should have an arsenal of marketing strategies.
Yep.
An arsenal.
Paid ads should be the caveat. We waited 3 years to put the paid ads up, and then I think some people are blindly led by paid ads because paid ads, to them, they could see the leads come in. So then paid ads become, this is where the value's at.
Right.
This is where the money's
because
at.
it's quick.
We're in a
microwave
return.
society.
Yeah, nobody wants to wait for it. When if you just brand and you continue to grow your brand out, that dude is tall as hell. Well, you continue to grow your brand out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when you get a large audience and people are like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what you're known for. You get a good reputation. And then boom, before you know it, City Hall's calling you to fix their shit. Businesses downtown are calling you to fix their stuff. People are asking you to come out and do small repairs.
Exactly.
People ask us all the time. Can't tell you. There's been at least 5 or 6 people since we've been in this office that have come in here with fully approved insurance scopes because they don't trust the contractor they're working with and they want us to walk them through it and explain what's in there. And every time we do it, and it always ends in the same conversation. We do not push their business. We read it to them. We tell them where it is, blah, 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 everything. And then they say, well, can I use you guys? It literally happens every single time. Like we just fall right into it. It's crazy. We get a bunch of phone calls because people see our ads. People see us on Facebook. People see our trucks and stuff like so. It goes hand in hand. But I agree with you 100%. And I'm constantly telling some of my partners too the same thing. Like ads cannot be the end all be all.
Nope.
And a lot of people dump thousands into ads, and it's just, dude, like you said, once you can't put thousands into them anymore, they become not valuable anymore.
Exactly. And bro, I mean, and we could go hours on this subject, but you're right. It can't be the end all be all. It is it's a marketing tactic. It's one bullet.
Yep.
Right? That is one gun. That's one weapon to marketing. It shouldn't be your entire strategy. Now, there are some people that's on the other end of this, on the spectrum, and they're like, bro, paid ads did it. It did it for me, right? Yeah, but show me how many, it's like the casino, show me how many people actually exploded their business through paid ads instead of, and versus the amount of people who really suffered from trying to do paid ads. There's a lot more people who blew a lot more money than made a lot of money. And I would argue that if you learn how to do things organically, you would not have to rely on the paid ads. You see what I'm saying? Dude, I don't run ads for my photo booth business, dog. I have not ran one ad to get money. Now, I've boosted posts, right? I've tested ads. I'm not relying on the ads. I'm trying to get information. I'm trying to get data. I'm trying to test my market, test my audience.
Because you can find out a lot by running an ad. You can find out who the age of the people that are consistently watching your stuff. You can find out what locations are interested, male or female is interested, what they're looking for, you know, which ones.
Get a lot more data.
Yeah.
A lot faster.
Put out 5 different types of content so you can gauge it. Put out the sad content, the happy content, the ask for business content, you know, the whatever. You put it all out there and then wait for the data to return. And don't pay attention to what leads you get. Pay attention to who's watching the shit and where your views are at, because if one of those 5 blows up and the other 5s don't, well, then you know what your audience is looking for.
Bingo.
And then that's it.
So when I was going through this season of trying to learn how to work social media, right? A lot of people don't test on their social media pages. It blows my mind. They're scared to. People ain't watching your content anyway, bro. Just
what
test.
do you care? Yeah.
Why do you care? I knew that. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? What can I do? What's going to happen? A video going to flop like the last 15? Ooh, I don't care. Man, so I teach people and I talk about like repurposing content. A lot of people think you have to keep creating brand new, fresh content, and you just don't. When I learned how to repurpose content, this was the strategy for it, bro. Because like you said, I was testing. I did a time-lapse video of me putting up this flower wall for my photo booth business, right? So if we unpack this, the repurposing content method, I have a time-lapse video.
People love that shit, by the way.
They do.
Yeah.
They love time-lapse videos. So
do.
you get the engagement piece just by that. And I knew that. That's why I'm like, all right, let's just do the time-lapse, right? So when you're looking at the content, you have a time-lapse video, just the raw footage, right? No audio, no captions, no nothing. That's still a piece of content, bro. That's one video. Now you add a trending audio to that time-lapse video. That's 2 videos. Now you add a trending audio with captions and a time-lapse. That becomes a 3rd video. That is 3 different pieces of content. So what I started to do was I just started to test. So I put out this time-lapse video with a trending audio, right? That's one video. That video hit like 1,500 something views. Dope. All right, I like that. Then I put out another time-lapse video with a time-lapse, a trending audio, and I had captions down at the bottom. That video had like 300 something views. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Shouldn't people like the captions? Then a couple months later, I put out the same exact video, right? I had the time-lapse video with the same trending audio, but this time I added captions in the edit, and the first thing that people saw was I was laid off from my job. It was a caption in the edit right there at the top. The reason I did that is because I learned when people are scrolling through Instagram, they watch with the sound off. So if you have something right there that'll capture their attention, oh, he was laid off from their job. Oh, dang, let me watch that. That video hit 8,000 views, and I got 3 bookings from that video. So when I talk about repurpose of content, it's literally the same video, it's just packaged different. I started to figure out that method. This is why I love doing video podcasts. You have a 1-hour conversation with somebody. If you speak with purpose and you speak with intent, right? Like, we're not just chopping it up to chop it up. No, bro, like we're coming here and we know what we're talking about, right? You then get these clips back. So I did one podcast. He gave me 30 clips, right? That is 30 pieces of content. Since I know how to repurpose content, I could take one clip, add a trending audio, put that out there. That's a video. Then I could take that same clip with a trending audio, put captions on it. That's a video.
Yeah.
I could take that same clip, trending audio, captions with a color filter to make it look different, right? That is a video. If you give me 30 clips and I know how to repurpose content, that now becomes 60 clips. I now have 60 pieces of content. All the same video is just packaged different, right? Because now I can go out and I can test and I can see what's hitting and I can try to break this down. What am I trying to find out? What is my audience like? What is my audience? Who is my audience? But now it also is a hack to the consistency algorithm of social media, because now I got all these clips. I'm posting them, bro. All you have to do is test, because it's not a loss if you get data in return.
Yep.
So what I was looking at was like,
oh wow, we eclipsed an hour already.
oh, for real?
Damn, chopping
I don't.
it up.
Don't even feel like it. Don't even feel like it. So, bro, again, I don't claim to be an expert, but I can tell you, man, my wife was dependent on me. My kids was dependent on me. A lot of people, when I told you they have a personal development problem, if you ask me, if you show me what you do in your spare time, I'll tell you exactly where you're going.
Yep. And the people you hang around with. Show me your circle and I'll show you where you're going. Now. Yeah, I'll show you where you're headed at. Yeah.
Dog, I didn't watch TV for like 4 months. F that, bro. What am I watching that for? Why am I watching football? These people are paid to do what they do. They live in their dream. I literally became a fan of learning. It became my entertainment. So, and it's a concept. I trained Instagram on how to be my content coach.
Yep.
Any of these reels that I liked, and I started following what I call high-performing Instagram pages, and I call it high-performing. I'm not just looking at the followers. I am actually looking at how their content produces. Engagement, conversations in the comments, same thing that you talked about. Is it a lot of shares? I'm looking at all these different things. And then I started to watch the videos with the sound off. And when I started learning different things, I started watching this guy named Omar El-Takari, and he talks about production value versus content value. The reason I'm watching these reels with the sound off is because I'm looking for production value. Is like, what are the transitions, right? Is it good quality clips? Is it high resolution? Are things changing on the screen multiple times to keep people's attention? Here's also what I learned. You can have great production value and low content value. The video is going to flop. And when I talk about production value, like for the people that can't see this, you have lights, right? Lighting. Any production value is anything that makes the piece of content look or sound better.
Yep.
We got mics, great production value. Just because you have the best gear does not mean you're going to have a good video.
Yep.
Again, if you go on a video and you talk with purpose and you speak with intent and you deliver the goods of the video, which is your content value, those videos are going to perform better because you're actually serving the audience. This is why people started hating clickbait, because they're watching this content and it has nothing to do about what they wanted to expect. If you're an expert, knowledge should spew out of your mouth. Just talking right now, we probably gave people tons of marketing strategies. When I sit down and I start to create content and I actually want to deliver the goods of the video, man, I can do that with my phone. My production value can be very low, right? Not a great phone, the camera's shaky, you're sitting in your car, you don't have fancy lights.
Some of those videos bang though.
because of the content
Yeah.
value. They deliver, bro.
Yep.
Same thing as if you do an Instagram live or any kind of live.
Yep.
They'll get, this is the first thing people do when they hit a live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all doing? Comment where you from. Blah, 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 blah. And what Omar teaches, they're not prioritizing the replay value of the video. Because a lot of times when you end your live, people are going to watch it after you were live.
Mm-hmm.
More people are going to watch it after you were live.
Yeah, because they have lives.
Right.
Because it works on your time doesn't mean they're available that time. Yeah.
Exactly. So if I'm watching a reel and I scroll past that content, good morning, how y'all doing? Comment below where you from. Scroll. Wasting my time. But if you start that live and you're prioritizing the replay value of the video because you're trying to serve people, it's not about you. It's about how can this content make somebody's life better? When you make content through that lens and that mission, your content performs better, right? So when I'm doing my live, hey man, I'm gonna give you guys the top 5 things or the top 5 reasons why you should do X and then get into the video. When I go back to watch that clip, you're getting straight to the information. I'm gonna wanna watch that video because you're getting straight into the information. I started to learn all these things, bro. And then I started to take classes and courses and I started to invest in myself. And when you invest in yourself, you attain knowledge. Knowledge is an asset that does not depreciate in value. Once you know it, nobody can take that from you and your knowledge will never be not valuable. What you know about sales right now, you could take these same concepts, these same principles 10 years later and it's still gonna do you good. What you learn about marketing right now, there is marketing strategies in these old marketing books. And I'll give you a couple of bangers. The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, the 22 Immutable Laws of Branding, right? These books weren't made last year. These concepts I learned and I started implementing them into my business and it still worked in the digital age. They talk about print. They talk about radio, all these older forms of advertising, bro. So
I just like watching the people too, like engaging with speakers and stuff like that. It just should motivate you, like what you watch and what you consume. And it's like, tell people like, you want to be great at podcasts, watch a bunch of podcasts.
That's it.
You want to be great at speaking, watch a bunch of speakers. You know, Eric Thomas is one of my favorite people in the world. Even yeah, I love ET, and that's the guy who like motivated me to speak because there is not one ET video where I am not fully engaged in. That dude, as soon as he speaks, I'm just like locked in, dude. It's just because, dude, it's so much fire inside of him, you know, and yeah, even CJ, his boy too. Like I listen to the Successful Podcast. Like I don't know if you listen to his podcast or not, but it's badass. Oh, dude,
really? I didn't even know he had a podcast.
You would love The Secret to Success. It's him and CJ and they have another guy on there every once in a while, but yeah, I've read all his books and everything. Like I am obsessed with Eric Thomas. I think he's amazing.
He is.
But like those are the people that I watch and I consume in what they're saying. And my buddy Deshaun, he's like a mentor to me too. I watch him. He's very engaging, and he's around. He flies around the country every weekend and door knocks with other teams and teaches them how to do it. And like, I mean, every weekend, dude. And he does like a whole philosophy behind door knocking, like the psychology in it and all that stuff, like how to read people and shit. So like, I consume that. Just like you. I watch TV shows though, and NFL is life for me. But I love fantasy too. But outside of that though, at night is when I do that. I go on YouTube and I watch other roofing companies. I go on Google and I look at the ads that other roofing companies are running in here. I pull Meta paid ads, and I can look. I don't think a lot of companies know that either. You can actually look up your competitors' ads that they're paying through Meta. It allows you to see that. So I see the content that's being put out there in Northwest Indiana, and that's how I know there's such a huge gap that I could take for myself. Yeah. You know, market share is real, and you better grab some. Exactly. Because it's it's getting bigger and bigger, and then with AI now, dumbasses can do it. So you know what I'm saying? Like they can edit videos without having to edit videos now, and that's scary.
So 2 things. We said the market share is real, and it's a big gap, right? There's a book called Positioning. They talk about, like, are you the first in the marketplace? Are you, like, usually the first in the marketplace is the first to mind, right? Dog, you are the first roofing company that I have seen in this area that's doing a video podcast.
Yep.
I don't know anybody else that's doing this. So if you be consistent with this, good things are going to happen for you. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to sell more roofs. I'm not saying you're going to make more money, but I know for a fact you're going to get more opportunities, bro. When I do these video podcasts, I get more opportunities that's not even related to photo booths, but those opportunities in some way still make me money.
And sales is opportunity. That's what it is. Sales is taking advantage of an opportunity. That's the whole point. That's why I keep telling these guys, Mike, I'll grab their attention. They'll put me in a position to eventually sit at a table with them. And then, brother, if you put me at a table with you and I'm selling you something, I'm a dog. It's over with. Yeah.
And
I feel confident.
Especially if you built that personal brand, they're going to spend money with you anyways.
Yeah.
I feel so passionate about like just doing the work, failing. So many people are afraid to get punched in their mouth.
Yep.
Fail, bro.
Yep.
Take the loss.
The Mike Tyson quote's the best, though.
What is that?
I thought that's what you're referencing to, but his quote is the best of all time.
Okay.
It says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Right.
Like everybody's got a plan, because they were talking about, I forgot who it was that was going to fight him, was popping their mouth off, and that's all he said. He said, everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth.
Right.
Yeah. And we'll see how your plan goes then.
But that's how if you really want to see how a person performs, like you want to know their true character,
Yeah.
watch them when they lose.
Yep.
Not when they win. When somebody takes a loss, a hard loss, observe, and then watch how they operate under that mentality, under that pressure, and give them time, and you're gonna see exactly who they are. I tell people, dog, I slept in my car at 19. I took a loss. I made it out. I then lost everything again, and I made it out.
Think and Grow Rich is a book, and it says in there that we got to fail before we can set sail. You have to lose everything to understand the process, to come back and build it the correct way, and then you set sail. You make your destination by failing 1,000,000 times before you get there. And then when you do get there, you're the top dog, because you know how it feels to be on the bottom, you know how it feels to be on the top, and more important, you fell in love with the process because you repeated it so many times that now you understand it.
And I used to watch different podcasts. You hear millionaires say, if I lost everything again, I know how to get it back.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, really? Like, like as a kid, I didn't really understand. Like, what do you mean you just know how to get it back? What they're saying is, if they lost everything, they have learned the formula, they've learned the skills, they have learned the habits, they've learned the mentality of what it takes to win again. You can take a superstar and take him to a new team, and a championship will follow. It's not the team. It's that person's behavior. It's their mentality of winning that makes them successful.
Yep.
So when you look at somebody that has repeatedly came back, that is a person who know what it takes to win. And guess what? That's the most dangerous person, because they've lost a lot of times. They came back a lot of times. And each time they are adding data to the hard drive, bro. Like they are learning how to sidestep problems and all, because they just keep learning and taking like knowledge from the loss. I'm like, man, what can we do to kill this person? Nothing. What can we do to stop him? Nothing.
And it's even better than an education, in my opinion. It's even deeper than that, because you're feeling it. A lot of people can read about what it takes to do that in a book. It's another thing to live it. It's another thing to watch your bank account dwindle to zero and then watch it go back up to 40, 50, 60. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's another thing to see that. Just to, to physically own properties, to physically own, whatever you own, that's nice, or whatever you have for yourself. Like, it's another thing to physically do those things. And again, Jordan Belfort, he said it the best. I have been a poor man and I've been a wealthy man. I would choose wealth every day of the week. I'm not in it just for money, but let's be honest with each other. We have bills to pay and stuff. Right. I'd rather be stress-free in financials than be going through poverty, teaching people how to do this.
And this is why I think life is such a beautiful thing, dog. Because when people say it's not about competition, it's not about yes, it is. It literally is. Before you could walk and before you can talk, you were a sperm cell that competed with millions of other sperm cells. The people who make it are the people who know how to fight and who knows how to get through adversity.
And like 1 in 7 trillion chance of winning that race, by the way. Just we're all dogs. Gary Vee talks about that all the time. He's like, you literally had a better chance of winning the lottery 10 times in a row than you did of being born as a human being.
Facts.
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 You competed against odds you had no idea existed.
And you won.
Yeah.
And this is why I think that the fact that you have a fingerprint and your own DNA is so powerful. And this is where I really started to understand like who I am. And when you understand yourself, it comes more authentic through your personal brand. Dog, your DNA, nobody that has ever lived on this planet will have the same DNA as you. Even if you have a twin, he has his own fingerprint. You're literally one of one. There might be other people named Selah. They might look like me, sound like me, bro. They are not me. When I start understanding that it is about me and it's how I sell and who I am, I start to sell differently. And I start to attract and not chase. I was on the phone with this guy one time. He was like, oh my gosh, bro, $1,000 for a photo booth rental. The other people have the same exact photo booth. What makes you different? What make you me?
The experience.
Me, dog.
The
All
experience.
these other people do not, they not built like me.
What's
bro.
the experience of going with you as opposed to going with one of them?
Right.
And that's what we tell people here in the roofing industry too. Like all of us pay damn near the same cost for materials, whether they want to admit to that or not. All of us got the same kickbacks. All of us know the same people. We all do the same quality work. So then what separates us? The experience.
Right.
I believe that when you go through Roman's Roofing, it's going to be a better experience than anybody else in this area. And I stand on that.
Right. And when you start to understand that and like you just be authentically yourself, bro, and you start to have confidence, it literally transforms what you're selling or what you're offering. So I give an example. I tell people that there are some people who have the same exact photo booth as me. You can look at it, and not just photo booths, bro, any industry, insurance, roofing, whatever, right? A lot of people, banking even, same product, same service. But some people just don't do as good. Why? It's because they think it's about since they don't know how to get behind the camera, they don't know how to build a personal brand, they start to sell features and benefits, right? It's not about the features and benefits. I literally transformed the photo booth experience because I understand it's not about the photo booth, dog.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. You could take a phone, right? It's not the tool that makes the tool powerful. It's about the person that's using the tool that makes the tool powerful. You can give somebody a phone, and that phone will be used for Instagram, TikTok, just scrolling, getting brain rot, right? Does that make the phone a bad tool? Absolutely not. You give a phone to a person like me, it now becomes a communication device, a time management device, a video production device. It's about the person that's using it.
You can edit your stuff. You can throw stuff around, put features on there, run ads. Yeah.
Come on now. Like, dude, it's not when people be like, oh man, the market is this, the photo booth is this policy is you, bro. You're the reason it's failing.
Dude, I tell my sales team, it's so spot on. I tell my sales team, and my favorite thing to say, and I learned this in like year 2 of sales from a ridiculous sales manager we had at the time, but there is no bum territories. There's only bums in the territories. And that's straight up. Every area has already been knocked. I always hear that a lot. They're like, oh, dude, Elijah, you don't understand. This area's been knocked by everybody. So you're telling me right now that if I go in there for 6 hours and I bang doors out, I'm not walking out with a sign? Are you telling me that? Well, no. Are you saying that? No. Okay, then, dude. Like, just because you weren't in there, if I give you a new area, that I hate that with sales reps too. Like, oh, go work there. Cool, we're in a new area we never been in. I bet you if you ask those homeowners they ever been knocked before, someone's knocked them before. They've been beat down.
And you know why? They don't like to compete, bro.
Yep.
They are poor competitors.
Yep.
Put me in any area. I don't give a damn, dog. I'm walking out because it's either you're a dog or you're not a dog.
Yeah, and the thing is you've been knocked before. Yes, I've been knocked. How many times? At least 10 or 15 companies. Okay, cool. So none of them said what you needed to hear. So what's going on? How do I make it to where I'm the last one to knock on your door? What do you really have going on right now? Let's talk. Let's push sales aside and let's have a conversation. That's the thing too. The sales reps are missing on. Stop counting doors. Start counting conversations. That's what we want anyway. That's it. We're literally looking to talk to people. Once you talk to people, now you find out what their problems are. You find out what they're looking for, and guess what? Now we provide a solution. Yeah, and then I'm in business.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're spot on, bro. And that's like I remember when I was selling candy in school. I literally learned this principle of communicating value. I didn't know it at the time, but it stuck with me for the rest of my life, right? So I was selling Jolly Ranchers. I would tell people, hey, you can get a Jolly Rancher for 10 cents. Who the hell got a dime in their pocket? Nobody. Then I started to figure out, like, why am I not selling? They tasty. It ain't the product. I love Jolly Ranchers. That's why I'm selling them. Nobody's buying them. Then I literally start to figure out, like, okay, maybe it's me. Maybe, so this is where what is it called? Self accountability comes in, because when you raise your self accountability, you raise your level of understanding. And in sales, if you're not getting the results that you want, you can do two things. You can put it on the clients or you can put it on yourself. When you put it on yourself, you will find the problem. The problem was I was telling people these Jolly Ranchers, you can get a Jolly Rancher for 10 cents. Nobody's walking around with a dime in their pocket. So I was poorly communicating the value. When I told them, hey, you can get 10 Jolly Ranchers for $1, now all of a sudden I'm selling my Jolly Ranchers. Because you got a dollar bill in your pocket. Not only that, it sounds like you're getting a good deal. Dang, 10 Jolly Ranchers for $1. Oh, snap. You just have to communicate the value better. And the people that don't want to compete, The people who are telling you I need a new area, these are people who have low self-accountability. They don't think they're the problem.
And you put it on yourself. You
put
said
it on
it.
you put it
said
on
it right.
yourself.
It's about accepting accountability, and a lot of owners and business owners in general in any field, a lot of them don't accept accountability. They like to point the finger and trickle it way down. We read a book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko. He's a Marine. I'm not into war storybooks, but in that book, it literally says, Ben, and I believe it, and I've always been a firm believer of this. Everything that goes wrong in your life and everything that goes good in your life, the position you're in right now and the position you were in and the position you're going to be in, it all comes down to one person. It's you.
Yep.
You are the reason why. There's no excuses for it. Everybody, I was born in this, I was raised in this, so was I.
Yeah.
So was I, but I didn't accept that. You either repeat the cycle and you go into insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, or you break that cycle. You say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to do things differently. My whole family existence hasn't, but I'm going to do things differently.
Yeah.
That's why I'm 39 years old. I'm the first homeowner in my family. I'm the first business owner in my family. I'm the first 2-time homeowner in my family. I'm the first 3-time homeowner in my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the first commercial property owner in my family. Like, I'm the first. And I'm going to keep doing it. Why? Because I got a daughter. My daughter can't grow up in poverty like I did. Yep. She can't exist in that. Like, she needs to know that my last name is synonymous with winners, not losers. Absolutely. I grew up with my last name synonymous with losers. No more. You got to eventually you got to step up as a man or as a woman, and you got to say, you know what? It ends here. It ends here. I survived it. I'm a better person for coming out of it. Now, how do I make sure that my path is successful?
Dude,
and that's it,
bro.
Yeah,
bro, you give me goosebumps, bro.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's a lot of people's lives, bro. It's all the self-accountability. It doesn't matter how you grew up. I told you, I grew up in Cleveland, bro. Single mom, 6 kids. Man, we were so broke, the broke kids would pick on us. We were the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
My dad went to prison. He met his dad in prison. On my mom's side, her dad went to prison. Where does it end, bro? My dad told me, hey, man, he told me, because he's like, look, it's the craziest thing, because I used to get kicked out of every school that I've been to.
Me too.
Right? My dad was like, damn, dude, you got kicked out of middle school, elementary school, high school. Man, you so bad, you got kicked out of barber school. He paid for me. He was like, he's like, son, I know where you're going. I've been down that road. I'm going to pay for you to cut hair. In prison, people do not mess with the barber because everybody needs a haircut. He told me in his prison, the person who killed the barber got killed. Now I got all these nappy head people around here and got about anybody. So he was like, I'm going to teach you these skills because you're going to need it. I went to barber school and I got kicked out. Like, what changed for me, the reason I turned my life around, one, is sleeping in my car. I realized that I am the common denominator in every situation.
Every one of them.
I've been to 5 high schools in 4 years, bro.
You cannot control what happens, but you can control how you react to what happens. Yeah.
Right. And when you understand it, because I had a crazy temper problem. Because it was my environment.
I still do, but yes, I'm battling that every day, but yes.
You want to snap off on people. Like, bro, I will be walking down the street, and if you look at me, if you disrespect me, you look at me crazy, you talk to me crazy, I'm about to send 10 to your chin, right? Yeah. When I got taken out of that environment and I moved with the white people, I'm crazy. Man, this dude got issues. So when my wife met me, and and I literally loved this woman so much, I didn't want to disappoint her, bro. When I was sleeping in my car, she would come visit me every single day. She loved me for how I was. I was all the way off, bro. Like, I was not right, But she didn't see those as, she just loved me, right?
Yep.
And she would come to visit me in my car every single day. And
and women love to save men too, though. They love a project.
Maybe
they do.
It could be.
No, that's good. No, that's great. Though you have a good woman. Yeah, every strong king needs a strong queen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she would come. This is what she would tell me every single day before she left, because she had to go home. She was like, man, Selah, you're a great man. And one day, everybody's going to see how great you are. I'm sitting here like, bro, she's saying this about me, but I got everything I own in my, what is she talking about? You're the strongest person that I know, and you're gonna make it through this. And one day, you're going to prove everybody wrong about you.
And that's the greatest and worst feeling in the world. It's great that your woman tells you you're a good man, but it's always so shitty, at least for me, when I hear that somebody saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. Like, that motivates you, but then at the same time, you're like, fuck, man. Yeah. That's how low we believe in ourselves sometimes. Right. That we can't even see the greatness that is fucking there.
Nobody ever told me I would be great, bro.
Yeah, I know.
My people told me, you going to prison. You ain't gonna be nothing. You gonna be in a box, like in the dirt in a box.
And you start to believe that
and
shit.
I did not care about my life, bro. I'm like, I hate my life anyway. What I got to lose? Yeah, I'm out here moving ruckus, bro. I have nothing to lose. You talk to me crazy, I mean, you about to get knocked all the way off.
Yeah.
If you love somebody, you should change. There's positive change and there's negative change. I talk about this. When people tell you or they say, man, if somebody want to change me for who I am, I'm not going to be with that person. They trying to change me. That is an ignorant person, and that's exactly why they by themselves.
Yep.
There is positive change, and I didn't want to disappoint her. This is the only person in my corner telling me that I'm going to be great. Mm-hmm. My dad gave up on me, bruh. My mama gave up on me. She didn't. Yep. So I don't know what great looks like, but I'm going to go find out.
And then you fall in love with yourself along the way too, because then you like it lights a fire up in you. So then you're competing to show them that they're not wrong in their thought process, and you don't want to lose them because now they've motivated you. Like, fuck, this chick's talking like this. All right, I gotta wipe this. I gotta lock this down.
Yep.
So like now I gotta be a better man. So then on your pace to become a better man, you find out you're like, dude, I need to believe myself more. I need to love me more. And then once, because I tell people it all starts with happiness too in the inside of you. So like if you're not happy, no one around you ever will be either. And if you don't have a focus, like if you don't have a mission statement, a drive, then how are you ever supposed to know what your goals are? We made our guys do mantras. I believe in mantras too. Now I had to memorize a mantra. I was giving a speech out, and you realize how impactful that is when you actually have when you have a mission. Like you're going out there and you say it, like I tell people all the time, my mantra. My name is Elijah Muhm. I believe in restoring the image of door-to-door sales through collaboration, education, and humor. I am on a mission to end my family's poverty cycle. I'm proud to be a member of the 8th wonder of the world, the greatest industry in the world, the roofing industry, the only industry you get to write your own check. That's my mantra. I say it. I say it all the time. That's my shit. So like, if you don't have a mission statement, if you don't have a clear goal of where you're going, then you're not going to get there anyway. And I love the process, like you said, because then, like I said, you learn more things about yourself. You learn how strong your resilience is. You learn what makes you who you are, and then you learn what people expect from you. And then once you know what people expect from you, you can deliver at a high level.
You know what? And that, bro, you hit every single point head on, bro. And here's the thing for people out there, if you don't have that much confidence and like respect, self-respect for yourself, the key to changing your life is finding something that's bigger than you. I didn't care about myself. Man, if I die, who cares?
Yep.
Right? Ain't nobody calling me anyway. That woman's gonna care. It will hurt her. You should behave better. It started becoming bigger than me. It's not about me, bro. Then I had a kid. Now I have double the motivation. And I tell people whenever I feel like I'm going through something in my life I can't beat, God sends me a baby. The year I hit that $1 million in sales, the same year COVID happened, and the same year I had a baby. I got a whole bunch of reasons why I got to go out there and produce. Similac was crazy during that time, bro. Trying to go to, because she was premature, she couldn't even breastfeed.
Yeah.
If I don't make money, if I don't, because I was a 1099 contractor.
It's crazy how our stories align, dude. It's crazy, bro. Yeah, my daughter was what kicked me off in this. 30 years old. No, I was working at Walmart. I left Walmart because I thought Amazon was going to open up. I took a job there, and they ended up stalling a month and a half on production. So I ended up in this industry, door knocking as a canvasser with a buddy of mine just to get by. $10 an hour. I was like, I'll give it a try. 3 days in, bro, I quit. And went full time into this, but my daughter was the motivation the whole time, and my fiance didn't breastfeed either, so we had, and my daughter had a really sensitive stomach, so we had to do like more expensive stuff.
Yep.
And for me, it was way more fucked up because I couldn't afford to live in a house, and I was in an apartment, and her family bought a house for us to live in, and I was paying the taxes on it and the rent there, and I wasn't able to keep up with it, so I had a notebook. And literally, dude, they bought my daughter's formula for the first year and a half of her life. They paid the vast majority of bills, and I wrote down all this shit in my notebook. And it's a really crazy story. It'll take forever to go through the whole thing, but long story short, I started hustling in sales. I started believing in myself and putting my money away. And before I knew it, I was in a position where I was making a substantial amount of money. And I was taking the notebook. I paid it off. I brought it to her family. And it's one of my greatest accomplishments ever. Like I had a total, and I paid them back for all the formula they bought, for everything they did. Like I paid them. And then I went to sit down for my first time buying a home, And I was so happy that my credit had gotten to the point where it did that I was able to purchase a home. So I went and sat down and I got approved. And they said, hey, man, we're going to approve you for $260,000 loan. Congratulations. And I was so excited. And then they said, all you got to do is make sure, we need your bank statements because you have to balance a certain amount of money in your bank account. I don't balance my bank account. I never have. Even to this day right now, I have no idea what's inside of there. I really don't. I don't even know what my bills cost because my lady takes care of that. I provide. She takes care of the analytics. And so I come back home and I'm really depressed, dude. I was like so down because I felt like, dude, this is the time. Like I thought I did everything right. And I got to balance this amount of money. There's 15 grand in my bank account. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? How am I ever going to own a home? So I go home and I'm like super shitty. And Amanda's like, hey, what's going on? And I tell her, I say, we got approved for a loan. She's like, that's great. I'm like, yeah, but they want us to have $15,000 in our bank account for like 3 months. I don't know what we're going to do, bro. Why she tell me we got 28 grand in the bank account and the bank account ain't been under 15 grand in probably 6 months. I had no idea, dude. I had no idea. And then it dawned on me that I finally was with somebody who saw the same goal I did. And then that's what put the power into me. I was like, oh shit, if we work together and we stay aligned, then nothing can stop us now. Like nothing can. We moved into a house and I had money. I had everything stacked up. We paid our debt. It got me out of like the hold I was in. I had a 570 credit score, and then I'm sitting there with like a 740, 750. Like I'm winning. I'm finally like I'm winning in life, and then I have not looked back since. Everything has just been because of her. She helped me with that.
So, even though it's your podcast, I want to ask you a question. When you got that win, what did that feel like? How did that make you feel?
Bro, that's probably the most ultimate high I ever was. And then I did the craziest shit you've ever heard in your life too right after that. That's why I love that story so much. That's why I said it goes really longer. But I was an asshole. I started off in sales and I was really, really aggressive. I was a dog. I mean, I feasted and I made really good money, but then I wanted to grow. I wanted to be a sales manager, and I built a reputation for myself that hurt me for 2 years of doing that. So I realized that there was no more room for growth at the company I was at, and I wasn't really driven by money anymore because I was happy. So I was like, well, dude, I need to take my next level up, and it wasn't going to be there. So I tried to quit while I was purchasing a home, and they wouldn't let me.
Yep.
They said, no, you can't do that. So the day I got my keys, I hugged Amanda. We celebrated. I had a great time. I unlocked the door to the new home, and I picked my cell phone up, and I told my company I quit. And it was all in less than an hour of owning a new home. No commission, no salary, 100% commission, right back at it again. And I really go back to that. Also, I left $80,000 of commission on the table at that company, not $80,000 in sales, in commission, like coming back to me.
Duh.
And I left it. So I tell people, I'm like, the greatest time of my life was actually that day. So I closed on a house. I found out that my life was going in the direction I was going in. I realized that I was the winner in the situation. And then my big dick move was leaving 80 G's on a table and telling them, nah, I'm good, man. I'll be fine. And I was fine. So to me, that was like the greatest day of my life.
Oh my gosh, man. I'm mentally clapping for you right now, bro.
Yeah, dude.
It's weird because how you said our stories align. When I left, I also left commission on the table. It wasn't 80 G's. It's probably like $10 or $10,000.
Well, I had 2.5 years vested in there and like a ridiculous amount of clients still. Like, I actually feel bad. I know a lot of them weren't taken care of the right way, but it is what it is.
Dude, I was like, so when you said that, man, like you made a decision. Again, you talked about, and I think like the first thing you said when we started this podcast is it rings true. You can be a supervillain or you can be a superhero, right? Like you left that $80,000 in that company, bro. What if you knew that some of those projects weren't being done right? They weren't treating people right, but you stayed just to get the commission.
Yeah.
Or you could leave and cut clean with a good name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
not even necessarily that either. It's just the growth. You know, I didn't leave because of wages. Like I was getting paid okay. I could have stayed there, been a sales rep. I could have done a lot of different things, but I didn't have the growth anymore. And then that's why I say, like, in this industry, it's very important to read people when you're doing business with them because only certain amounts of people are driven by money. Yeah. There's a very small amount of people that I'm learning as I do more business that don't care about money. I'm one of those people. I love money. I need money. I work for money. I wouldn't work for peanuts. But that's not the end-all be-all, and it can't be the end-all be-all. I needed to see more. I didn't know what they spent on material. I didn't know what a build cost. I didn't know what we pay subs. I had no idea that in taxes, how they worked. I didn't understand the business aspect of it. I only understood knock on doors, get sales, move on. But then like you said, I started piecing together like, all right, well, hold on a second. What are they not paying me for? Like, what are they getting paid? I was watching people in the office, and they got all brand new cars and stuff. And I'm driving around a Chevy Blazer
for real
97 that leaks oil. I had to park down the street from homeowners' houses because my oil would leak in their driveways. And I would be like, oh, shit, man, this guy's going to sign with me. I can't, fuck him over. And they'd be like, why are you walking down the street with your ladder? And I'm like, oh, I got another neighbor to look at or whatever. Make whatever excuse why. But, I had to because my shit was falling apart. Right. And I was watching all of them acquire all these things. And I'm like, dude, this is not the way. Something here is not adding up.
That is why I said you have to just learn. And what I used to think W-2 wasn't the way to go. I used to think sales was the way to go. But what I realized, same thing as you realized, I'm like, bro, I am literally making other people rich. I'm putting so much more money in everybody else's pocket. This is why I tell people that when you start a business and you own a business, bro, this is literally how you unlock your life to financial freedom. I describe sales like this. If I'm a lion, right, and I go out, I hunt the gazelle, I kill the gazelle, and I drag the gazelle back to the village, why the hell should I get the leg? I did all the work. When you go and make a sale, you getting commission. Some people are perfectly fine with that, and if you're perfectly fine with that, that's perfectly fine. If you are not,
there's no responsibilities. I'm okay with lifers for sales, and there are a lot of them.
There is.
Yeah, they take the winters off and they coast,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
But if you have something in your, once you see that process, because I'm like, bro, y'all going to Africa? Y'all getting all these vacations and stuff. Same thing. I'm over here driving this little June bug. And all this other stuff, their life got better. My life did not get better. And I was like, all right, I need to start trying to run a business. If you're an entrepreneur, you know how to generate. You don't need anybody to give you a job, bro. You just have to find something to sell. You need a product or a service and find something to sell. You just need a vehicle. For me, it was a photo booth. I seen the way people were using it, and I was looking at different opportunities. It's a low entry cost industry, right? So you can literally just buy a photo booth for $5,000.
Our sales guys getting amped up in there.
But yeah, you could buy a photo booth for $5,000 and get started. I did that, and I'll tell you this right now: I do not make the same amount of money I was making in sales. I tell people, man, dude, I just be fully transparent, but I know that I will eventually. Yep. That's the difference.
Yep.
Because now, just because you're a great salesperson does not make you a great business owner. That's what a lot of people think. If you're great in sales,
leadership in general. Just because someone's good at something doesn't mean they can be a leader. A leader is a different person. And there's a saying that Angelo, he usually co-hosts this with us, but he had his kids today. There's a saying he says all the time. It's like those who can do and those who can't teach. So that's literally what the philosophy is. Most college professors or most door-to-door sales coaches and stuff, they don't actually do the shit.
Right.
They just know the philosophies behind it.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I tell people, just because you own a ship does not make you a great captain, dog.
Yep.
So I knew the sales part. Cool. I did not know how to market a business. Then I learned the marketing side. Cool. But guess what? Now I got to get employees to pay people. Then I get employees to, get employees so I can start paying people. And I'm like, all right, how do you train these people? How do I make sure that the information that I'm giving these people is valuable, that they're going to remember it? So this goes to, you have to be a good teacher. How do you be a good teacher? You become a good communicator. How do you become a good communicator? Become a good listener. People will tell you how they learn. They'll tell you. And if you don't know, ask them. What's the best way that you receive information? Oh, I'm a hands-on learner. Come to this event with me, dog. I got you. Show them how to do the work. A lot of times we try to take our foot off the gas as soon as we get employees because we think that we can coast. No, you need to be in the trenches with them.
And listening, like you said, listening. So in our industry, a lot of sales reps, they're not listening to what the homeowner's saying to them. They're listening so they can respond to them. They got their pitch locked in and they're ready to spit it out as fast as they possibly can, but you don't even know what the problems are right now.
Yeah, and
you haven't even had a conversation with a homeowner yet. Yeah, you don't even know anything. Go into it without trying to sell something and walk out with a sale.
Right. Yeah, and I tell people, bro, dude, experts don't tell you what the problem is. Experts, they literally start to ask questions.
Yeah, to get to the problem.
How can I tell you what your problem is if I haven't even heard? I start to ask questions, bro. That's what people do. Experts don't just give prices. Experts ask questions. Like, if somebody wants to rent from me, how many people are going to be at your wedding? The reason I'm asking is because you got a wedding of 200 something people. You're not just going to need one photo booth, bro. I am doing a disservice because I got one photo booth, a line full of people who don't even want to wait in line. Now they don't even have that many pictures. And now you're like, bro, I done spent $1,500 for this photo booth and I only got like 100 pictures. Even though it's 300 something people there. Is it going to be inside or outside? I'm going to need a portable battery. I'm going to need some Wi-Fi. Like, you ask questions. And so when people understand, like, these educated buyers, these smart buyers that I'm telling you about, they know that you're asking questions. Guess what? They know that they're dealing with their expert.
Yep.
They're dealing with the expert who cares.
And
who
you can really find out what's going on with somebody. So in our industry, we'll ask them questions like, okay, well, have you had your roof looked at? Oh, yeah, somebody looked at it. Are you experiencing any leaks or anything like that? Oh, we noticed some stains in the living room, nothing crazy, but they just popped up there. So then now I know. Now I understand. Okay, well, I want to make sure that that's not mold. Do you have access to your attic? Yeah, I do. Okay, well, now they see me go in the attic. We take some photos there. I come back down. Like, man, it does look like there's a little bit of moisture coming in. I don't want the moisture to create mold, because then the people here, you don't want to breathe that stuff in. So it's best to get up there and look at the roof. Now they're interested in the roof getting replaced so they can find the core of the problem with the mold and potential leak that's going in there. You found out what was bothering them. You explain to them why it's urgent to correct it. Now they need a solution, and you're standing right there. You are the solution. You get up on the roof and you tell them what the real problem is, and you offer the solution to them and let them know, I can handle this for you. I'm the expert. I'm the one that found it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
but most reps are going there and they're like, oh, yeah, I didn't even check out your roof. Oh, yeah, that's a shit company. My company's way better. Let me get up there and take a look at it. I can get it done cheaper. Dude, you don't even know. First off, if they want a replacement, you don't even know if the roof is bothering them. You don't know anything, dude. Like, why don't you chill out for a minute? Let's talk a little bit here. Yeah, they're already pissed off you knocked on their door.
Right.
So let's have a conversation real quick,
Yeah.
How's your day going?
Yeah, features and benefits.
Yeah.
When they don't understand it's about them, it's features and benefits. They try to knock the competition. That's their marketing position behind what they do. Like, people will say, even in my industry, like, I started with iPad-based photo booths. iPad-based photo booths did not take great pictures. Well, that's their marketing position because they think that it's about the photo booth. iPad-based photo booths don't take great pictures, right? And you have a better product. Why ain't you doing so good? You got better pictures. Why ain't you doing so good? Because it's not about the photo booth. The same way, it's not about the roof, bro. It's about you. And man, just having this conversation with you, bro. I can tell that you understand this and that you want to instill that in everybody that works for you. The leadership.
Yep.
You have the answers to the test. You ain't going like this. Hey, no, man, listen, do this. Take this information. And this is the reason why people don't like sales reps, because all sales reps aren't trained under this kind of leadership.
Yeah. And they do things wrong. And people think, sales reps in our industry think they're bashing their competitor. Even if you get the sign, they think that they did like a justice to the homeowner. You did a disservice, bro. You shit on the competition. So I'm going to tell you right now that homeowner, when you knocked on their door, they already thought you were shady. They already did. We get viewed as used car salesmen. That's just how they view us. So they think that we're automatically running the tabs up on there. You reiterated that, bro. You were a good salesman. That's why you got the deal. But you reiterated to them and you let them know that, yeah, what you think about us is exactly right. I just happen to be a smooth talker to get the deal anyway. But yeah, I shit on my competitors. Yeah, I'm dirty. Yeah, I'm a undercut everybody. So that means, in my opinion, you're willing to undercut a supplier. You're willing to get cheaper material. You're willing to undercut a crew to make them do the job faster. You're willing to throw away material to upcharge me and pretend you use more than you did. You're willing to cut corners.
Yep.
You were willing to get my business cutting corners. Why wouldn't you fuck my build up cutting corners? That's the way that they need to look. So I tell everybody all the time, you ain't hurting anybody but yourself and making it harder for all of us to go get the next deal.
Yeah, you know what, man, dude, and that's every industry. That's every market. So then the question becomes, then how do I start to separate myself?
Or work together.
Right. So you can do that. You can work together. But bro, just start building a brand or a personal brand. This is what I think is super funny. When you could be an expert at what you do. When you turn that camera around, you start to talking to that camera, they become weird. Right? They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to act. So that's a confidence problem. That's an authenticity problem, all that stuff. But I challenge anybody, just walk around your house for a month and just every single morning start to talk to your phone. Even if it's explaining your day, you will slowly and surely get better at video content. If you look at Selah Brooks and go down my Facebook page,
I did.
it's just me.
I already did.
It's just me.
Yeah.
Just talking. Even if and even if I'm just going through and I'm just delivering the content of the video, like I'm just walking outside, I'm walking and talking. That's what's called vlog style. It's a video format, vlogging style. It's not like showing throughout your day. It's literally just walking and talking. I love that format of video, right? Because if you use what's called conviction-based content, right? Which means you feel something and you just press record and you speak on it. You do not even have to edit that video.
That's what I do. I do it a lot.
Hey, like we can have this conversation and we talk about personal branding. I feel so empowered, man. I'm charged up. Hey, listen, this is exactly why it's so important to create a personal brand. When you create a personal brand, it doesn't matter what you sell. If you're struggling, you feel like you're not being noticed, your content's not getting noticed, it's not getting engagement, you're drowning out with the noise, you're working harder than everybody else and nobody's noticing you, I guarantee you, if you go on a personal brand journey and start showing yourself, you're going to become the product, and then people are going to want to buy you.
Yep.
Upload that video. Or you can add little captions. I do little captions. That's the only thing I edit. Upload the video, and you're done. The best way to create content is when you literally become the content. I don't create content, bro.
You know how much content we're about to get off of this?
Man.
I know you're about to chop it up too, but we're about to get so much content off this.
Tons.
Yeah.
I just became the content.
Yep.
Got a camera over there recording me. I got a little mic right here, right?
Yep.
I'm getting my own clips. If you're really putting in the work,
We can send you the raw too, just so you know.
Fact.
Like it's on mics and everything. I have no problem sharing. We just ask that you don't post it before we edit it. But yeah, I'll send you the raw. You can chop it up.
You got my word. I won't do anything to it until you guys post it first.
Right on.
But if you're a dog, bro, and you're really putting in the work, you're getting the gigs, you're getting the bookings, you're getting the meetings, your calendar, what you're doing within your day becomes your content. I had an 8 a.m. Zoom call today that I recorded. Then I went to go talk to young kids in 8th grade, right? Told them about my life. I did a speaking engagement. Now I'm here. When I leave here, now I'm about to go prep for an event. Then I'm going to do the event. That is so much content. Like you said, a lot of content that we getting from here is going to be crazy rich in content value. When your calendar becomes the content, you start creating content because all you have to do is pull out your phone. The best way to get content is to film yourself and record yourself in your natural element. So if you're doing coaching calls, consulting calls, anything like that, why aren't you recording those calls? One, you are answering questions that somebody else has. And if that person has that question, everybody in your industry has that same exact question. You upload a video of you answering that question, you are now positioning yourself as an expert in your industry.
And you can search on Meta and Google of what the commonly asked questions are for the audiences based on what you offer. And there'll be top 25 questions, and you boom, bang it out, 25 videos.
All those are content.
Yep.
If you feel like you're gonna run out of content, you're gonna run out of things to talk about, you're probably not an expert in what you do. This is how you know.
And
you're
stop
expert.
speaking to professionals too. That's the thing. Our guys tend to make videos for other roofers. Stop.
Right.
Stop. You're making
Why?
videos for the average person that doesn't know anything. So like I tell them, don't overthink things. Everything is brand new to them. They don't know shit. Setting a ladder up may seem so simple to you. They don't know. Checking for a hail hit on a downspout. They don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You know, you could make videos. I tell everybody all the time, a simple video is filming yourself walking up the driveway and then turning the camera around and say, oh, you notice I'm walking on the driveway? That's because I have respect for other people's lawns. I'm not a typical salesman who just walks right through the yard. I take the time to make sure that I protect your landscaping while I come to knock on your door. Like, that's a video.
So good.
That's a video.
Right.
And someone out there who has flower beds, they're like, oh, that was very sweet of him. That's a beautiful young man.
save,
I like that,
share.
follow that. Yeah, if I ever need something, I'll call them. Dude,
man.
that's it.
Come on, bro.
Like, it's done. They don't. They just don't understand the power of it.
You can make content like it's everywhere you look. Like you said, that is a video, right? And so if I am looking at because it's the information age, it's the digital age. If I'm scrolling, because people use Instagram as a search engine, right? They don't just go to Google anymore. They start looking at roofing content and different things like that. But and everything really is a search engine nowadays, right? So, but if I'm online and I'm looking for 2 different roofing companies, and I see that video about what you did, and I just see the standard born roofing video, they're showing their trucks, they're hammering nails, and no, who do you think I'm going to pick? If you create a personal brand, you start being vulnerable and you share a loss. Man, dude, I started this roofing business and I just had the worst month ever. I'm going on a journey to hit $100,000 in sales the next month. I'm either going to make it or I'm not going to make it. Come with me.
Bro, that's the best. That's the best. And they give that advice out all the time. That's what Gary Vee said. Some lady one time asked him, she said, well, I'm going to culinary art school because I want to be a chef. Like, what type of content do you think I would? He said, first off, the content's endless. People love food, so you're already in.
Right.
He said, but the number one thing that you guys are missing out on, people want to experience the journey with you so they can clap with you. They feel like they helped you get to that level. So you start off, you turn the camera around right now, and you say, this is day one of my journey to become a top chef. I'm going to do everything in my power to get there, and I want you guys to follow along. Like and follow if you want to experience the journey with me. Boom.
Bam.
Day 2. Good morning. This is day 2. I'm officially ready to get after it. This is what I got planned today. Follow my journey if you guys want to be part of it. That's it.
That's it.
Every day.
Here's why that is so powerful. Because again, when you create an audience, it's an emotional connection. This is why I love vlogging. I did a vlog series on my photo booth business. I show where I lost $2,500. That's the first episode. I'm new to the photo booth business. I lost $2,500, and now I'm on a mission to get $5,000 to buy another photo booth to keep growing my business.
Hell yeah.
Right? I go on the journey. When I posted the first video, I had like 4 comments, like, congratulations, you go, you know. As that number started to go up.
Those are the real ones, by the way.
Yeah.
Those are the real ones.
Those are my dogs,
Yeah.
right? And so as that number starts to go up, my engagement starts to go up. What does that mean? I'm building the audience.
Yep.
When I create,
You have their attention.
you got their attention because vulnerability creates connection. But here's what it also creates: attention. The more vulnerable you are, the more attention you get. This is when I understood this. This is why I told people I was laid off from my job with a photo booth business. I opened up my curtains all the way so I can get a lot more attention on me. Because the rest of that formula, the vulnerability formula, vulnerability equals relatability, which equals memorability, which equals attention, which equals money. Because people will pay you with their attention before they pay you with their money, right? When I got finished with this vlog series, I'm going to tell you something crazy that happened. And this is why I tell you an audience is more powerful than a network. Because you know everybody that's in your network. You never know who's in your audience. Photo Booth Supply Company is the largest photo booth manufacturer in America. Bro, they were engaging in my content. Congratulations, this is so great. I got a podcast invite when I finished up my photo booth, my photo booth vlog. I got a podcast invite. I then went on there and used the vulnerability formula, meaning I told my story. You think I'm about to just go on this platform? They have 57,000 followers on social media. I'm not about to go on this video podcast, right? And then only talk about my vlog series. Nope. I'm not doing that. I'm going to tell these people my story. I'm going to share the loss with them because I know that anybody with a photo booth watched that darn podcast, bro. And this is my opportunity to share my journey with people. So after that podcast that we did, I literally became an influencer. They gave me a commission link. Now I got a YouTube channel where I create educational photo booth content. And on this commission link, when people buy a photo booth, I get paid, bro. This is the crazy part about an audience, and this is why I tell you don't need a huge audience to get paid. I don't say that because it sounds good. I say it because I know it to be true. At the time where I became an influencer with these people, because I have a success story with their product, I had 309 Instagram followers. Not 1 million, not 100,000, 309.
Yeah.
I literally have a whole nother revenue stream for my business. Then that's when it hit me. When they say you need 7 streams of income, a lot of people think you need 7 different streams of income. It didn't say 7 different streams. It said 7 streams.
Mm-hmm.
I rent photo booths, right? Then I get commission from the videos that I create. And if they want to buy a photo booth, that's another stream. I then created something called the Photo Booth Playbook. It's a Facebook group. I got 30 members in that Facebook group. And if they want to ask me questions, they want coaching or consulting, I get paid. That's another revenue stream. Then I also started a workshop about my content that I make, right? That can literally, everything I did, well, all my content, my strategies, I can now do that specifically for photo booth clients because that's in my industry, so they can take a workshop. That is another revenue stream. They just said 7 streams, bro. Learn how to package and reflip what you're selling because you can do little spinoffs around the same exact industry, around the same exact market. And I'm learning all of these things, dog. And what I tell people about, like, when you go to create an audience, man, like, I had 309 loyal followers. loyal. I'm talking about they still to this day engage in my content. They like my content.
Yeah.
You know, and they, like you said, they grew with me.
Yeah, they feel like they're part of the journey.
They feel like they're part of the journey.
Yep.
And it's an emotional connection, dog.
Yep.
And so I'm sitting here and I'm figuring all this stuff out. Not a social media expert at all. I do not have 1 million followers or anything like that. But I know if I create an offer, people buy my product.
Yep.
Because we have to stop looking at words as just words. They have deep meanings. When people put together the social media platforms, they knew what they were doing. A social media platform, think about it. It's called an audience. What does an audience need? An audience needs a good show. What is a good show? A good show is where the main character takes a loss.
Mm-hmm.
You are a character. Your social media platform is called a platform. Another word for a platform is a stage. That is your stage. This is your audience.
All business is show business. You got to
Come
perform.
on, dog.
Yeah, you have to perform.
You have to perform.
I agree.
The best marketing content that you can create is marketing the season that you are in your life.
And there's going to be people listening right now. They're like, well, yeah, we want to perform, but we just don't have the money you guys do to put in the market. And that's why I always want to tell people the number one rule into sales and business and anything, there is plenty of money. It's just in other people's pockets right now.
Facts.
There's plenty of money out there. All the money you'll ever need is sitting in somebody else's pocket. You'll get it.
And you will.
Yeah, you'll get it.
And just start paying attention. I learned all this stuff at my lowest point, dog.
You got to serve them first.
This is why I tell you, if you want to know about somebody and how they operate, what do they do when they lose? Bro, don't judge me based off my situation. Judge me based off my response. It's how you respond to the adversity.
Yep.
You
Another
feel-
Jordan Belfort.
Really?
Yeah, he said. I asked people. Leonardo DiCaprio used it in a movie too, but it's his line. He goes. He used to tell people. I asked people not to judge me off my wins, but judge me off my losses because I have so few. Yeah, that's the move.
That's
yeah,
a bar. Who said
yeah.
that?
Jordan Belfort did. The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah.
Man, oh, bro,
Yeah, that was one of his lines that he actually used in his pitch, and Leonardo DiCaprio used it in his little, which is the best part of that movie, by the way. But yeah, he does a close there. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have, but I don't remember.
When
I
he
only watched
goes
it
and he
one
does
time.
the penny stocks, and he first gets that job, and they're like, "Oh, we got 50% commission." He goes, "50% commission," and he had to sell those metal detectors out of some dude's garage, and he like gets on the phone. He's telling this guy, "What if I told you, John, that this is pending?" Patent from the U.S. government, and right now is the only time that civilians will have a chance at this. Would you be interested in that? And he's like, he says something like, my people are telling me that this could go way higher than this. John, right now is the opportunity. You know, I don't ask you to judge me off my winners, but I ask you to judge me off my losers because I have so few. And then the dude just dumps in like 15 G's or something like that, and he hangs up the phone with them. And everybody standing around, they're like, "How the fuck did you do that, dude?" Like, and it's all storytelling, and then you end it with some powerful shit like that,
dog.
and then people are like, "Oh, he must be a winner," you know? Like he has to be winning, yeah.
Come on, man. I do remember that scene now that you didn't play it out for me.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, oh, man, dog. Like I said, I only watched it one time, but now I watched it twice because you just gave it to me, dog. That's crazy.
2 hours? Oh man! All right, we're gonna have to pull it on us for the 2 hour pod. We could go for days, man. Real quick though, before we get off of here, I'd like for you to let everybody know how they can find you, how they can rent your stuff, and what website, you know, whatever. List all your social media, everything.
Right. Okay. So, first of all, you guys can follow my personal Facebook page. It's Selah Brooks, Selah Brooks. And so that's one way that they can get in contact with me. But for my photo booth business, it's Phenom Photo Booth, Phenom Photo Booth on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can like my content, man. Everything's there. It has links to my website. And so, man, if you guys need a photo booth or you just want to talk it and kick it about, you know, personal branding, hit me up because I just created a company called True Version Media.
Hell yeah.
It's a personal branding company where I teach like my formula or my structure of personal branding. Like I said, vulnerability, authenticity. But then I teach people content creation strategies. A lot of people think that posting consistently is a strategy. Consistency is not a strategy. It's an output. Consistency without strategy will equal failure.
Yep.
So when you are posting with a strategy and you doing that consistently, that's a success. So I host workshops. I do them in person, and I also do them virtually. Where if you want to learn about personal branding individually, that is a workshop. if you want to learn about content creation individually, that is a workshop. And so I host them. They're $150 per person. And so, yeah, man, like, dude, I just been on this journey, man. And I just want to say, bro, I really appreciate you for bringing me on, bro. Like,
oh, bro, we're going to do some business here, too. Yeah, 100%. In fact,
Man.
you know, if you ever do any speaking engagements, we might have some coming up here, too, because we talk about doing events and stuff, too. I'd love to have you on to talk about content creation, and I'm always down to speak with people, too. I think that we'll be able to connect on multiple things outside of just this. And then I'd love to get you back on Roof Trollz, because I don't feel like we got to tap into who
hell
Selah is.
nah, man. We got a lot more layers to get into.
You got a whole nother, you know, part of personality outside of just professionally. But you know, it's good to give content for people listening. But I'm definitely gonna have you back on. So
thank you, bro.
100%, man.
And I'll make sure I'll go on a journey where when I come back, I'll deliver the goods again, bro. A lot more information, man. And dude, like I said, I really appreciate it, bro. Because when I was at my lowest point, I mean, I wasn't doing podcasts.
Hell yeah,
You know,
I know that feeling.
People, they weren't inviting me to do anything, and so like, you know, like I said, I go on podcasts based off the energy, man. Like, dude, you give that real, authentic stuff. That's the wave that I'm on, and that's why we click like that.
Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I'm most definitely be back.
That's what we created this for. Roof Trollz was created to shine spotlight on other people doing amazing things in our industry, and then we've kind of shifted over to having Northwest Indiana impacts. Like, I'm like, there is a bunch of people out there doing really cool shit that nobody knows about because they don't have the platform that other people do. So I'm in a position right now where I can provide a platform for people, and I like to be able to do that. And we've had some cool guests, man. We had Josh Huddleston, the mayor of Hobart, was on here. Mayor Tom McDermott from Hammond was on here. I had Michael Floyd, former Super Bowl champion's been on here. And then you won't know any of the people, but in our roofing industry, we've had some big heavy hitters in here. And Ryan Stewman was one of our guests and stuff. So, like, we've had some really great people in here. And, yeah, I'm very thankful for it. So, yeah, man, thank you for coming out. And thanks for our listeners for listening. Make sure you follow my man. And as always, guys, see you on the next one.
My respect.